3841, 3841. Chapter 3841, Entering the River of Time. This time, Lin Moyu didn't take the opportunity to make excessive demands. His requests were reasonable and completely within the Morning Bell Emperor's ability to fulfill. The Morning Bell Emperor tore open the soul void space and directly sent Lin Moyu out of the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain. In Lin Moyu's left hand, there was now a small illusory bell. This was the Morning Bell's projection. While not as powerful as the true body, it was enough to break through the void and allow Lin Moyu to exit the river of time. Not only that, but in Lin Moyu's right hand, there was now a small drum. This was the Twilight Drum's projection, which could control the time river evolved from the original drum. The Twilight Drum Emperor had not perished. Strictly speaking, the Twilight Drum still belonged to the Emperor. This false river of time was evolved by the Twilight Drum Emperor, so naturally, he could manipulate it to some extent. After leaving the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain, Lin Moyu summoned the Space Dao Spirit and had it teleport him 10 times in a row, instantly traveling over 1 billion kilometers. After the teleportations, the Space Dao Spirit needed to rest and recover its power. Lin Moyu then unfurled the wings of Time's curse and flew toward the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain. Returning to the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain was not without risk for Lin Moyu. Although he guessed the Lord of Time had most likely left, there was no guarantee. It was possible the Lord of Time was still in the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain, and if Lin Moyu returned even without evidence, the Lord of Time might attack him. In a fit of rage, there was nothing such a being wouldn't do. According to his own words, killing Lin Moyu would entail great karmic consequences, and beings of that level didn't want to bear that burden, but didn't mean couldn't. Lin Moyu mentally prepared himself. If he really did encounter the Lord of Time and was attacked, he had already devised countermeasures. After more than 10 days, he finally returned to the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain. This time, he wasn't affected by the drumbeats and entered the domain smoothly. Following the imitation river of time, he quickly found the Twilight Drum's location. Within the Great Spirit domain, apart from the Twilight Drum and the River of Time, there was nothing else. Sweeping the area with the eye of the undead, he saw no soul bodies. Has the Lord of Time really left? Lin Moyu guessed that the Lord of Time was probably gone, but he still felt uneasy. He summoned the Scarlet Blood Dao Spirit, True Fire Dao Spirit, Space Dao Spirit, and Sword Dao Spirit simultaneously. With a thought, the Scarlet Blood Dao Spirit transformed into a sea of blood, covering billions of miles of void. The True Fire Dao Spirit ignited True Fire, joining the Scarlet Blood Dao Spirit in guarding the void. The Space Dao Spirit sliced through space, its small body hiding in another layer of space unseen, but still guarding the area. The Sword Dao Spirit turned into a sharp blade, standing between the sea of blood and True Fire. There were no void beasts or living beings here, allowing the Dao spirits to unleash their full power. Since he couldn't be sure whether the Lord of Time had really left, Lin Moyu first ensured absolute safety within this vast stretch of void. If the Lord of Time appeared, it would be best not to fight, but if he did, the 4 Dao spirits would be the first line of defense. If the 4 Dao spirits went all out, it would trigger great Dao punishment, potentially dragging the Lord of Time down with them, just like when they took out the remnant soul of the World Tree Emperor, using the power of the great Dao to deal with the Lord of Time. Killing him was impossible, but forcing him into dormancy was possible. Against such a being, Lin Moyu had to be cautious. His conscience was clear after all, the Lord of Time had tried to set him up and nearly got him killed. They were already mortal enemies. After making these preparations, Lin Moyu took a deep breath and activated the small Twilight Drum in his right hand. The projection of the Twilight Drum resonated with its true body, and the imitation river of time began to surge, rolling in layers and enveloping Lin Moyu like waves. From the outside, Lin Moyu's figure vanished without a trace. But for Lin Moyu, his vision was unaffected. Next, the wings of Time's curse fluttered, scattering the power of time as the Time Great Dao was pushed to its limit, summoning the River of Time. The River of Time was broad and turbulent, with countless waves crashing and rolling. Every drop of water here was a great Dao, recording the events that had occurred in heaven and earth. When cultivating the Time Great Dao, before reaching the Dao Lord realm, one could use the Time Great Dao to look back in time and see what happened in a certain region. The higher one's cultivation, the further back one could look. After becoming a Dao Lord, one's control over time grew stronger, and one could even summon the River of Time. Upon reaching the Great Tao realm, it was even possible to enter the River of Time in person. But doing so was not safe. The River of Time was dangerous, and entering it at will could easily lead to becoming lost. Some people entered the River of Time and, upon returning, found their consciousness and thoughts disturbed. Their Tao hearts weren't strong enough to withstand the flood of information in the River of Time, and they could no longer distinguish past from present. Some even died in the River of Time after seeing things they shouldn't have. Lin Moyu was aware of this and always treated the River of Time with respect. Even after awakening his divine ability, before reaching the Tao Lord realm, he never thought of entering the River of Time. But this time, he had no choice. Divine ability. Roaming. He used the divine ability again, this time entering in person, wrapped in the imitation River of Time, and sank into the true River of Time, vanishing from sight. A torrent of information immediately crashed into him, chaotic, without order, with events from unknown times all mixed together, bombarding his soul. Lin Moyu's will surged, blocking all this information from entering, refusing to let any of it in. In the River of Time, he had to use his Tao heart to sort things out, using it to search for the information he needed. With a firm Tao heart, Lin Moyu quickly went from unfamiliar to proficient. He filtered out the flood of information and gradually mastered how to find what he needed in the River of Time. Lin Moyu began to roam the River of Time, watching the past unfold. Many events that had occurred in heaven and earth appeared before his eyes. The rise and fall of worlds, grand battles, all were laid bare before him. As his Tao heart and will shifted, he found information related to himself. A familiar world appeared before his eyes. It was the former origin continent. The era of the insect race, the era of the Buddhist race, all appeared before him. He saw how the insect race was destroyed and witnessed the growth of the world will, which gave rise to a second Buddhist era. Then, as the world will continued to grow, it decisively destroyed the Buddhist race when it sensed someone was trying to transcend. Suddenly, the world will of the origin continent in the River of Time looked at him, a palm reaching out. Peeping, die! A thunderous roar rang in his ears, and Lin Moyu's Tao heart was violently shaken, sending him flying. The imitation River of Time surrounding him flashed, blocking the attack. All the scenes before Lin Moyu shattered, and he looked stunned. That was the world will of the origin continent, having just destroyed the Buddhist race and entered the formation stage. It had left a mark in the River of Time, and when it discovered Lin Moyu's peeping, it attacked him. Although it didn't cause any real harm, it showed just how terrifying the world will was. At the same time, Lin Moyu realized another problem. The origin continent's world will was proficient in the Time Great Tao. This also meant it could summon his former self from the River of Time. I really underestimated the world will. 3842, 3842. Chapter 3842, Roaming. Lin Moyu had always paid close attention to the will of the origin continent, especially after arriving in the Jumu World Tree Great Spirit Domain. In the Jumu Great Spirit Domain, the world wills of those powerful world lords had all reached the manifestation stage. At first glance, the strength of these world wills didn't seem much weaker than that of the origin continent. But upon closer thought, there was a vast difference between them. If it really came down to a fight, the origin continent could crush the world wills in the Jumu Great Spirit Domain. Of course, that's assuming the world lords themselves didn't intervene and it was a pure contest of world wills. The worlds in the Jumu Great Spirit Domain had all had their wills, intelligence erased at some point. Even if they regained knowledge later, they were essentially at the level of world kings. But the origin continent was different. It had grown to this point entirely on its own, its intelligence extremely powerful and its actions extremely decisive. At the first sign of trouble, it would directly annihilate the threat. It had reached the peak of the manifestation stage, only one step away from eternity. Within its world, it could wield all the great Taos that had ever evolved there. Not to mention anything else, just the ability to summon its past selves from the River of Time was terrifying enough. Such things had happened before. In the Great World, strong cultivators from the Black Blood realm had once summoned powerful beings from the River of Time using special methods. Not only could they do it, but world wills could as well. Lin Moyu realized he needed to reassess the will of the origin continent. It was even harder to deal with than he'd previously thought. This trip into the River of Time had not been in vain. He'd seen this point almost immediately after entering. He remembered that last time he entered the River of Time, his Tao body was scattered after only a few seconds. This time, with the protection of the imitation river of time and entering with his true body, his endurance was much greater. He continued using his divine ability, roaming, to travel through the river of time, witnessing many past events. However, Lin Moyu avoided peering into the pasts of certain powerful beings. The marks those beings left in the river were too strong, and probing them would trigger instinctive retaliation. Some powerful beings, upon reaching a certain realm, could erase their own past marks, while others would strengthen them. Each had their own approach. For example, the human sovereign had erased all traces of his deeds. Lin Moyu could only vaguely glimpse the human sovereign's weaker years, but the images were blurry and indistinct, and Lin Moyu knew not to look further. His gaze swept across world after world, each one unfolding as a grand tapestry before him. Almost every world was a history of war. No world could become strong in peace. Until a true ruler appeared, every world was filled with conflict. This was true not only within worlds, but also at the level of small spirit domains and even great spirit domains. If there were no human sovereign suppressing things in the Jumu Great Spirit domain, and no trading market, then for the sake of resources the worlds would be in constant turmoil. In a sense, no matter what the human sovereign had done, his merit in this regard was immense. As he roamed the river of time, Lin Moyu also discovered that he still couldn't see things too far back. He had originally wanted to see what happened at the very birth of heaven and earth, when the river of time first appeared, and how the worlds came into being. But after trying, Lin Moyu confirmed that this was impossible. It was as if the river of time had some invisible rule burying that segment of history. He didn't know if it was the work of the Lord of Time, the river of time itself, or some other reason. Lin Moyu calmed his mind and didn't dwell on it. He kept moving forward, heading for the end of the river, searching for the place where the Twilight Drum Emperor might be sealed. In the river of time, time itself was meaningless. After traversing a long stretch, Lin Moyu saw a small island. A floating island in the river of time was a strange sight. Lin Moyu immediately recognized that the island was not naturally formed, but artificially arranged. Only the Lord of Time could set up an island in the river of time. Lin Moyu didn't approach, but observed from a distance, seeing a house on the island. The house was wrapped in time, with the flow of time there speeding up and slowing down, extremely chaotic. From the house, Lin Moyu sensed a familiar aura. The Lord of Time. It was indeed the Lord of Time's aura. Lin Moyu was sure he wasn't mistaken. He hadn't expected the Lord of Time to be here. His aura was fluctuating and as chaotic as the flow of time itself. From this, Lin Moyu could tell that the Lord of Time was seriously injured. This instability was a sign of being unable to control his own power. Lin Moyu chose to give the area a wide berth. Even though he was cloaked in the imitation river of time, if he got too close, he might still be discovered. If the Lord of Time is healing here, then the place where the Twilight Drum Emperor is sealed shouldn't be far. Lin Moyu understood human nature. People always keep what's important within reach, never out of sight. But the Twilight Drum Emperor wasn't a dead object. He was an emperor, an eternal existence. When the Lord of Time sealed him, he would have considered every contingency. So the seal wouldn't be placed right at hand, but at a proper distance, close enough to monitor, but not so close as to be dangerous. Following this logic, Lin Moyu began searching around the island. Time sometimes surged like waves, sometimes flickered like rays, weaving countless scenes and beams of light. After searching for a while, Lin Moyu finally found something. In one area, time was especially chaotic, filled with overwhelming images and information. If a Tao Lord entered this region, they would be affected by the time flow, their thoughts would stagnate, and the flood of information would impact their soul with unimaginable force. This was the river of time's defense, a defense using information and time itself, a method only the Lord of Time could devise. Lin Moyu flew toward the chaotic area, steeling his Tao heart, ready to endure the impact. He wasn't worried about the chaotic time. His imitation river of time would protect him. The chaotic flood of information, however, had to be resisted with his own Tao heart. As he approached, the previously calm time suddenly erupted, transforming into blades that instantly enveloped Lin Moyu. The time chaos was blocked by the imitation river of time. A torrent of chaotic information followed, filled with violence, disorder, and terrifying resentment. Lin Moyu heard the wails of 10,000 souls, and before his eyes, blood surged, forming a sea of blood. Endless murderous intent filled the information, striking directly at his soul. If his Tao heart weren't firm, he would have been overwhelmed in an instant, either becoming a mindless husk or turning bloodthirsty, unable to find himself again. A Tao Lord's Tao heart is always firm, but when thoughts are affected by time, that firmness is greatly weakened. The chaotic information would seize the opportunity, and hidden within it was the Lord of Time's power, extremely subtle, capable of silently shattering the Tao heart. This was an extremely insidious defense. Lin Moyu guarded his Tao heart, pushing through the impact of the chaotic information. Finally, he saw a space. Most of the River of Time is used to record the ages, but a tiny part is used for other purposes. The island was one such place, this space was another. As he drew near, he saw a soul lying in this space, radiating a powerful aura, with time itself unable to approach. Even though the Twilight Drum Emperor was sealed, he was still so powerful that even time could not get close. Lin Moyu slowly approached, and suddenly a figure appeared before him. The spirit of time appeared, looking at Lin Moyu with a complicated expression. 3843, 3843. Chapter 3843, Meeting the Spirit of Time Again. Lin Moyu had encountered the Spirit of Time several times before. The first time was in the Great World, when he took out the catastrophic scepter and scared the Spirit of Time away. There were a few more brief encounters after that, but never any real conversation. This was the first time they faced each other directly. From the very first meeting, Lin Moyu knew the Spirit of Time recognized the catastrophic scepter not just from seeing it in the River of Time, but from witnessing it firsthand, even knowing how powerful it was. The Spirit of Time looked at Lin Moyu with a complicated gaze, as if wanting to say something. He spoke calmly, "We meet again." His voice pierced through time, altered by its flow, sometimes near, sometimes distant. The Spirit of Time was silent for a moment, then slowly said, "If you disturb the seal, he will know." Lin Moyu was surprised. The he, in the Spirit of Time's words clearly referred to the Lord of Time. But as the master of the Time Great Tao, shouldn't the Spirit of Time be his subordinate? Why use he like that? Could it be their relationship wasn't one of master and servant? The Spirit of Time said, "Don't be surprised. He is not my master. He is the master of the Time Great Tao, but not the master of the River of Time I am." Lin Moyu understood their relationship now. The Lord of Time could control the flow of time, reverse it, roam the River of Time, and even turn parts of it into his own territory, but he couldn't arbitrarily alter the River of Time itself. Some things still had to obey the rules of heaven and earth. If it weren't so, the Lord of Time could use the River of Time to erase anyone, he'd be invincible. Lin Moyu said, "Thank you for the warning. Please, what is your purpose here?" He remained alert, not fully trusting the Spirit of Time's words. The Spirit of Time replied, "I want to see your scepter." See the scepter? Lin Moyu was a bit taken aback, but then took out the catastrophic scepter. The Spirit of Time had seen it before, so there was no harm in showing it again. Staring at the catastrophic scepter, the Spirit of Time's gaze grew even more complex, and he seemed somewhat agitated. Even his spiritual form trembled slightly from the excitement. For some reason, Lin Moyu saw a hint of longing in his eyes. After a long pause, the Spirit of Time slowly spoke, 3 gems already. Only 2 left. Lin Moyu's heart stirred, and he asked, "Do you know where the 4th gem is?" "Yes," the Spirit of Time answered without hesitation. Lin Moyu was delighted and quickly pressed, "Can you tell me?" "No," the Spirit of Time was blunt again. "I know, but I can't tell you." This answer didn't surprise Lin Moyu. After all, the Spirit of Time controlled the River of Time, there was little in the world he didn't know. Lin Moyu asked, "Can you at least give me a general direction?" "No," another crisp answer. Lin Moyu was speechless. If you can't say anything, why bring it up at all? Suddenly, the Spirit of Time said, "You can use the scepter to directly break the seal. That way, he won't sense it." Really, the Spirit of Time didn't explain further, and in this situation, Lin Moyu could only choose to trust him. He certainly didn't want to alert the Lord of Time and risk a great battle. But there was another problem: the Lord of Time could still know Lin Moyu had been here through his time imprint. His imprint in the River of Time was vague, but not non-existent. The Lord of Time had said before that people as vague as Lin Moyu were extremely rare, and that alone could reveal his identity. The Spirit of Time seemed to sense Lin Moyu's thoughts and spoke again, "I will erase your imprint in the River of Time. He won't know you were here." Lin Moyu asked, "Why are you helping me?" The spirit of time replied calmly, "You'll understand in the future." After saying this, the spirit of time vanished. Another riddle. No one in this world can just speak plainly anymore. Lin Moyu sighed and flew to the seal. The seal was woven from layers of time. If someone tried to force their way through, it would activate and alert the Lord of Time. But if it could be shattered instantly, leaving no time for it to activate, the Lord of Time wouldn't know. The Lord of Time's seal was extremely powerful, almost no one could shatter it in an instant, so this loophole was as good as non-existent. But the catastrophic scepter was an exception at least, according to the spirit of time. Lin Moyu chose to trust him. He approached the seal, raised the catastrophic scepter high, and smashed it down with all his strength. No great Tao power, no fancy tricks, just a simple, direct strike. With a soft sound, the seal shattered, and all the years and time unraveled. The catastrophic scepter's unique power created a vacuum in the river of time, erasing all time and years. So powerful. Once again, Lin Moyu witnessed the catastrophic scepter's incredible might. Whether in the soul void or the real world, the catastrophic scepter was unstoppable, even time itself could be erased. Lin Moyu immediately rushed in to retrieve the Twilight Drum Emperor. The imitation river of time went into effect at Lin Moyu's level, he couldn't even touch the Twilight Drum Emperor. The mere aura he naturally emitted was enough to keep Lin Moyu away. But the imitation river of time was personally refined by the Twilight Drum Emperor, so their powers shared the same root, allowing Lin Moyu to easily envelop the Twilight Drum Emperor. "Let's go," Lin Moyu shouted, flapping the wings of time's curse and leaving the river of time. The wings beat violently, driving the time great Tao and opening an exit. Suddenly, time became chaotic, countless streams of light intertwined, time reversed, trying to push Lin Moyu back. Lin Moyu looked back and saw even the seal slowly restoring itself. The Lord of Time had set up more than just the seal. Lin Moyu beat the wings of time's curse, resisting the reversal of time and pushing toward the exit. In his soul, he heard beastly roars. Several beast-like monsters, cloaked in the power of time, charged at him. Their bodies were twisted, entirely woven from time. Time beasts. Lin Moyu recognized them, special spirit beasts born from the river of time itself. They weren't true living beings and had no souls, but the Lord of Time could control them. They could wield the time great Tao to attack, and their combat strength was not weak. The key was that, in the river of time, they were nearly impossible to kill. Lin Moyu didn't have time to tangle with them. He raised the catastrophic scepter, ready to deal with them. The catastrophic scepter could erase time. Dealing with time beasts was no problem. Just then, the spirit of time reappeared. With a wave of his small hand, time collapsed, and the time beasts dissipated like smoke. The spirit of time said, "These time beasts are his minions and record all information. You must not attack them." Lin Moyu asked, "But it's fine if you do." The spirit of time replied, "He can't do anything to me. You should go, don't come back here often." "Thank you." Lin Moyu glanced at the spirit of time, then beat his wings and rushed out the exit. 3844, 3844. Chapter 3844, using the morning bell and twilight drum as the signal. Bursting out from the river of time, Lin Moyu returned to the soul void. The twilight drum was not far away. The imitation river of time slowly dispersed, and the Twilight Drum Emperor automatically flew toward the Twilight Drum. The Twilight Drum radiated a gentle light, as if welcoming its master. The two resonated, and waves of drumbeats echoed throughout the heavenly spirit domain. Amid the drumbeats, the Twilight Drum Emperor's aura was steadily growing stronger. He was beginning to awaken. Lin Moyu knew the Twilight Drum Emperor was about to fully return. Watching this unfold, his mind drifted to the spirit of time. From the spirit of time's words and actions, it seemed he and the Lord of Time were at odds, with clear conflict between them. Thinking about it, it was simple. The Lord of Time surely wanted to control the spirit of time, but the spirit of time would never submit, so conflict was inevitable. The spirit of time's existence was already beyond measure, far older than the Lord of Time. How could he be controlled? Unless the Lord of Time could take the final step. But that final step was exceedingly difficult. Lin Moyu guessed that the green-robed old man and the white-robed elder at the ancestral water gourd were likely beings who had taken that step. Suddenly, the drumbeat grew thunderous, interrupting Lin Moyu's thoughts. The Twilight Drum Emperor struck the drum with both hands. The sound, once deep and low, became loud and ever more stirring. In the intense drumbeats, the Twilight Drum Emperor revived and returned. A rift appeared in the void, reflecting the scene within the space-time spirit realm. A bell rang from within the rift. The morning bell and twilight drum formed a duet, performing a wondrous melody. As Lin Moyu listened to the bell and drum, he felt as if his soul was being purified. Before his eyes, time and space intertwined, revealing countless scenes from the past memories of the two emperors. The morning bell and twilight drum appeared together in the void, then the two emperors were born, one mastering space, the other mastering time. Their relationship was not just close, they were like brothers. Only after their births did the power of the morning bell and twilight drum fully erupt, each forming their own great spirit domain. Yet the two were never apart. Even after becoming emperors, they worked together on their final step. From the scenes, it was clear they were pure-hearted, almost indifferent to worldly affairs. At that time, both great spirit domains were filled with countless living beings in infinite worlds. Then the Lord of Time appeared, deceived the Twilight Drum Emperor, and finally sealed him away. Using the Twilight Drum's power, he sealed the Great Spirit Domain, merging all the small spirit domains into one. In the process, every living world within the small spirit domains was destroyed. Because he used the Twilight Drum's power, all the karma was attributed to the Twilight Drum Emperor, becoming shackles that bound him. Without this karma, the Lord of Time would have struggled to keep the Twilight Drum Emperor sealed for so long. Meanwhile, the Morning Bell Emperor, in order to save the Twilight Drum Emperor, could only push forward on his own final step. He used an extreme method to accelerate his progress, which also involved merging the Great Spirit Domain and turning all its living worlds into fuel. In Lin Moyu's eyes, the true culprit was the Lord of Time. Most of the karma should fall on him. Yet the Lord of Time remained untouched by karma, while the immense burden of destruction fell mainly on the two emperors. Such karma is no blessing, it could erupt at any time and bring disaster. This, Lin Moyu thought, was the injustice of the great Tao. He had his own understanding of this and found it hard to judge right or wrong. The drumbeats gradually faded, and the Twilight Drum Emperor finally fully revived. He learned everything that had happened from his clone. The Twilight Drum Emperor looked at Lin Moyu, his deep voice echoing through the void. "Thank you, Taoist Lin, for saving me. I will remember this favor." Lin Moyu replied, "Emperor, just remember to help me deal with the world will when the time comes." The Twilight Drum Emperor said, "Of course. When the time comes, use the morning bell and twilight drum as the signal, and we will come." Hearing this, Lin Moyu felt more at ease. The origin continent's world will was strong, but not yet eternal. Against two emperors, it would surely lose. The key was the karma attached to the world will. If the emperors attacked it, they would be entangled in karma, but for these two, who already carried the burden of countless destroyed worlds and lives, a little more didn't matter. Because of this, Lin Moyu actually trusted their promise. He believed, but not fully, he would make his own preparations too. Lin Moyu asked, "What do you plan to do about the Lord of Time, Emperor?" The Twilight Drum Emperor replied, "Shiyu's debt will be settled, but not now. I've been sealed for many years, and though I've revived, my power hasn't fully returned. And my brother Morning Bell helped me advance on the final step. I need to keep pace with him. When your matter is resolved, I'll seek him out for a reckoning." For Lin Moyu, that meant his own matter would be resolved in a few centuries. A few centuries is but a blink to an emperor. Besides, in a few centuries, the Lord of Time might not have recovered. He might face even greater trouble then. Lin Moyu decided to watch and see how things developed. With the two emperors' promise, he felt much more at ease than when he started. He asked, "Emperor, I've noticed the changes in the Great Spirit Domain. Why merge all the domains and destroy the worlds?" He'd always wondered about this. The Redstone Emperor was doing the same, and so was the Morning Bell Emperor. If it benefited the emperors, why did the Lord of Time do it too, when for him, it only became a shackle? The Twilight Drum Emperor replied, "It's a cruel thing. Do you really want to know?" Lin Moyu said, "I've always believed that seeking the secrets of the world and understanding heaven and earth is also a form of cultivation. So I'm interested in what I don't understand. But if it's too secret, you don't have to say." The Twilight Drum Emperor said, "It's not really a secret, all eternal beings know it. We are different from you. You comprehend the great Tao, each walking a different path. But we don't need to comprehend the Tao, our control over it is only through these innate origin treasures. All emperors share the same nameless Tao, created just for us. So the final step we must take is much the same. Our path is tied to the innate origin treasures, and the simplest way to strengthen them is to merge the great spirit domain, refining all its worlds and lives into nourishment for the treasure. But because the karma is so immense, if there's another way, we'd rather not do it. My great spirit domain was destroyed by the Lord of Time, but the karma fell on me. Since that's the case, I can only see it through to the end. Besides, there's another difficulty in merging the great spirit domain, you cultivators. For example, the human sovereign in the Jumu Great Spirit domain, his presence makes it impossible to merge the domain. The Redstone Emperor is in the process of merging, but it will take time. Before the merge is complete, there can be no eternal existence in the domain, or it will all be for nothing. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Thanks for the support, Raju Upalapati. Asterisk 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 asterisk. 3845. 3845. Chapter 3845. The Great Battle Approaches. In the eyes of an emperor, the void beasts and living beings of a great spirit domain, including all the worlds within, are ultimately insignificant. As long as they are willing to bear the karma, these emperors can erase them all without hesitation. Unless someone in the great spirit domain, or a world will, steps into eternity, only then can they resist an emperor's devouring. But under normal circumstances, emperors rarely do this. They are unwilling to shoulder such karmic consequences. The Twilight Drum Emperor was forced into it. He never wanted to do such things. The Morning Bell Emperor did it out of necessity. As for the Redstone Emperor, no one knows his reasons. Moreover, once an eternal level being appears in a great spirit domain, emperors lose the ability to erase them. That ability is completely nullified, and to take the final step, they must find another path. The reason is simple, it's all about strengthening their innate origin treasures. For an emperor, this is not considered wrong after all. In their eyes, the cultivators and void beasts within a great spirit domain are nothing but ants. How could they possibly care about an ant's feelings? They only consider themselves. The Twilight Drum Emperor spoke directly and without pretense, clearing up many of Lin Moyu's doubts. From his answers, Lin Moyu came to understand how an emperor views the entire world. All beings, including void beasts, cultivators, world wills, and Tao beasts, are ultimately just different forms of existence. Lin Moyu's understanding of the world deepened, and seeing things from this new perspective helped him better grasp the essence of reality and aided the evolution of his own myriad worlds. When he returned, his will would subtly influence his own great world, making it more complete and perfect. After a long conversation, Lin Moyu left the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain. Although he hadn't succeeded in getting the Lord of Time to act as planned, the outcome was even better. Two emperors were now willing to help him, even at the cost of bearing karma. What could be better than that? Now, with more than 400 years left before the appointed time, Lin Moyu planned to spend that time in the vacuum, continuing to hunt Tao beasts and seek virtual real spirit realms. Tao beast essences and innate origin treasures, he could never have too many. After returning, he knew he would advance to Tao Lord, at which point he would have to choose among the 6 great Taos he cultivated. Lin Moyu entered the vacuum, becoming a hunter, beginning a centuries-long hunt. After this hunt, he knew he would face a life-and-death battle. If he won, he would gain more time to continue his plans and eventually break free from the world will. If he lost, and the world will achieved eternity and sacrificed all living beings, then his story would end. In the origin continent, years passed, and Lin Moyu's destiny was nearing its end. Every 100 years, the world's restrictions loosened by one realm, 4th tier soul, 3rd tier soul. The Tao realm cultivators in the origin continent grew ever stronger. The influence of the outer Taos within the origin continent had long surpassed that of the local powers. However, because of Lin Moyu's past actions, these newcomers behaved themselves, at least for now. Some were just watching, others were itching for a fight, but no one had made a real move yet. They were all waiting for the moment Lin Moyu's destiny Tao ended. After waiting so many years, a little longer didn't matter. But preparations were already underway. In secret the storm was about to break. Lin Moyu appeared outside the Golden Furnace Great Spirit Domain, still riding Little Python. Nearly 300 years had passed, and Little Python had finally reached the first tier innate soul level. When it achieved this, it heard a summons from the beast abyss, a call so tempting Little Python was nearly ensnared. This was the call of life and reincarnation, something ordinary void beasts could hardly resist. Lin Moyu had prepared for this, storing Little Python in his spatial treasure long in advance, only releasing it after a long wait. Yet the summons persisted, not fading with time. Lin Moyu realized Little Python had to withstand it on its own. Outside help could only delay, not prevent, the challenge. Little Python could only resist the lure. Most void beasts lack a Tao heart, let alone a strong will. Those who can withstand it are one in millions, and they usually become kings of small spirit domains. If Little Python succeeded, Lin Moyu could help it obtain an innate virtual treasure and let it enjoy being a small domain king. Little Python closed its eyes and gritted its teeth in the void, unmoving. After several days, the voice of temptation gradually weakened. After 10 days, it finally disappeared completely. Little Python cheered excitedly, "I did it, Master, I did it." Lin Moyu laughed, "Not bad. Did you gain anything?" Little Python replied, "At first, the voice tempted me to go to the beast abyss. To lure me, it showed me many visions. If I went, I could reincarnate into the real world and become a powerful cultivator with great fortune. We void beasts all want to go to the real world most of all. That temptation is really hard to resist. But thanks to you, Master, I held on. I know that only by following you can I become truly strong. All that talk of reincarnation is just a trick. It can't fool me." Little Python boasted and flattered Lin Moyu at the same time. It was smart enough to know that as long as it stuck with Lin Moyu, not only could it be a small domain king, it might even become a world lord. While it was complimenting him, laughter rang out nearby. Several elemental liches were playing, laughing loudly. Even the usually serious scarlet blood Tao spirit sometimes let out a laugh. In nearly 300 years, Lin Moyu had collected 80 Tao beast essences, but unfortunately, hadn't found a single innate origin treasure. He entered 2 virtual real spirit realms, but both times, just as he was about to obtain a treasure, the realm collapsed and the treasure vanished into the broken space. Aside from those 2 failures, the frequency of finding Tao beasts was also dropping. Especially in the past century, it often took 5 or 6 years to find one, compared to every 2 or 3 years before. It felt as if his luck had run out. In the vacuum, Lin Moyu couldn't use the fate Tao to observe his own luck, but his intuition was never wrong. His luck was waning. The reason, he knew, was that his destiny was coming to an end and the world will was about to awaken. When that happened, the Taos would return, and the world's luck would be gathered by the will. Even though Lin Moyu controlled the fate Tao, he couldn't keep his luck in the face of the world will. Back then, the child of the world lost all his luck in an instant, powerless to resist. Not just luck, his other Taos would be affected too. Perhaps only the immortality Tao would remain untouched. Lin Moyu sighed. "Time to go back." Little Python said, "Master, aren't you going to wait for the summons to finish?" Lin Moyu glanced at the blazing immortal fire and shook his head. "No need to wait." 3846. 3846. Chapter 3846. The further away, the better. For nearly 300 years, Lin Moyu used the essence of chaos to summon elemental liches. The undying flame burned for almost 3 centuries, and yet the essence of chaos showed no sign of melting. But it also didn't fail, which meant the essence of chaos met the summoning requirements. It was just that the essence of chaos was of such a high level that no one knew how long it would take to succeed in summoning an elemental lich with it. Lin Moyu didn't have the patience to keep waiting, so he decided to give up for now and try again later. As for the Void Soul Essence Stone, although the Lord of Time called it an innate origin treasure, it wasn't truly a material, it was the corpse of a chaos worm. Lin Moyu tried using it to summon elemental liches, but ultimately failed. He withdrew the undying flame and left the Golden Furnace Great Domain. After returning, Lin Moyu first sent a message to the discernment beast, telling it to get ready. When the world will recovered, it would manifest, but only for a short time. If they missed the window, it would be troublesome. The jade slip condensed by the discernment beast vibrated lightly in response, indicating it understood. On his way back, Lin Moyu went to check on Xiao Zontian. After taking over the world of the four-armed clan, Xiaozontian had spent the past centuries refining Tao Beast Essence. The Tao Beast Essence sped up his spirit-nurturing process, and now he was close to manifesting a true form. Lin Moyu hadn't planned to ask Xiaozontian for help in this matter. He was still too weak, far from being able to contend with the world will of the origin continent. As he got closer to the origin continent, Lin Moyu felt more clearly that his luck had already been greatly depleted. Finally, less than 10 million miles from the origin continent, Lin Moyu sensed the fate great Tao radiating from the continent. With this, he could finally clearly observe his own luck. Once, his luck was at its peak, but now it was less than a third of its former glory. Most of his luck came from the world itself. Now, as the world will was awakening and about to fully recover, it was reclaiming all the luck. Not just luck, his other great Taos were affected as well. The power of the great Taos hadn't changed, but Lin Moyu felt it was no longer as pure as before. When the world will was dormant, he could directly mobilize the power of the great Taos. Now, as the world will revived, he had to pass through 3 extra thresholds to mobilize their power. It was as if the world will had added a switch between him and the great Taos. If it wanted, it could shut off that switch, and Lin Moyu would no longer be able to use the power of the great Taos. The root of all this was the true spirit imprint. The world will could directly manipulate the true spirit imprint, greatly weakening a cultivator's power. That's why, back then, even beings as powerful as the 3 lives Buddha and the Lord of Hell were utterly powerless before the world will. Most people are completely unaware of this. They don't sense any change and have no idea that there's now a switch between themselves and the great Taos. Only people with extremely sensitive souls, like Lin Moyu, can feel it. But even those people don't know about the existence of the world will, so they'd never guess the real reason. Just as he was about to return to the origin continent, Lin Moyu received a message from the third ancestor. When they parted ways, Lin Moyu had given each of them a miniaturized skeleton general to use as a communicator within a certain range. Following his connection to the skeleton general, Lin Moyu quickly found the third ancestor and the others. The third ancestor, Mohei, the Beast Emperor, and Shangguan Wenchen were all there, drinking tea together. They had clearly been waiting for him for some time. Seeing Lin Moyu, all 4 smiled. The third ancestor raised his cup and smiled. The little fox is finally back. They left a seat open for Lin Moyu, who sat down. Seniors, have you gained anything these years? The 4 exchanged glances and smiled. The third ancestor said, thanks to you, we each found a few worlds. The Beast Emperor added, coincidentally, all those worlds had once invaded the origin continent during the Great Calamity. Mohei said, those worlds aren't very strong, but we didn't alert anyone. Back then, the Black Blood Realm and the Heavenly God Realm led their subordinate worlds to invade the origin continent, causing the Great Calamity. Afterward, the Black Blood and Heavenly God Realms retreated, moving their main worlds far away, even leaving the Golden Furnace Great Domain. But their subordinate worlds weren't so lucky. When the origin continent counterattacked, those worlds were all heavily damaged. Lin Moyu found it odd that they'd found worlds so easily, but upon reflection, it must have been the work of karma. Those worlds owed the origin continent a great karmic debt, and as the world will awakened, that karma was coming due. So, guided by fate, the third ancestor and the others found worlds that had participated in the Great Calamity. Lin Moyu took a sip of tea and said seriously, we need to change our plan. Let me explain to you all. The third ancestor asked in a low voice, what's the change? Lin Moyu said, over the past centuries, I've been to many places, including a great domain called Jumu. In the Jumu Great Domain, the human race dominates, and there's a human sovereignty. Lin Moyu described the situation in the Jumu Great Domain, especially how cultivators there could control the world will and use it to become world lords. World Lord was a Tao Lord level realm, but their strength surpassed ordinary Tao Lords, since they could draw on the power of the world will at any time. Lin Moyu's explanation was like opening a new world to the third ancestor and the others. The third ancestor, barely containing his excitement, said, so we can also control a world will and become its master. Lin Moyu replied, exactly. You're all Tao Lords. If others can do it, so can you. As for the biggest problem in becoming a world lord, that's the spirit-seizing technique of the human sovereign. Fortunately, I had a stroke of luck and happened to obtain the spirit-seizing technique. Lin Moyu didn't intend to keep the technique to himself, but he also couldn't just hand it out. If word of the spirit-seizing technique got out and reached the human sovereign, it would bring trouble. The human sovereign wouldn't tolerate the technique leaking and would surely try to eliminate Lin Moyu and the others. So Lin Moyu decided to keep the spirit seizing technique in his own hands and help the third ancestor and the others seize worlds when needed. The third ancestor and the others had no objections. Lin Moyu said, "The world will is about to fully awaken and will soon attempt to reach eternity. I already have a plan to stop it and buy us more time." The third ancestor asked, "Is there anything we can do?" The four looked at Lin Moyu, their eyes full of excitement and a bit of nervousness. Lin Moyu shook his head slightly. "This time, none of you need to act, and I won't act either. I've made arrangements. For now, don't return to the origin continent, stay as far away as possible. If my plan succeeds, the world will be severely wounded again and fall into slumber. It may not last as long as the last great calamity, but it'll be enough for us to take the next step." 3847, 3847. Chapter 3847, Lin Moyu, come up and die. The four followed Lin Moyu's instructions and did not return to the origin continent. They understood Lin Moyu's strength well and knew that those from the outer Great Tao couldn't do anything to him. Lin Moyu never even regarded them as real opponents. From beginning to end, he ignored them. His only true opponent was the world will. All these years, Lin Moyu had been running about, waiting for this moment. The third ancestor and the others left far away. Little Python also hid deep in the chaotic mists, while Lin Moyu returned to the origin continent alone. He had a premonition that this battle would be massive, and when it broke out, the surrounding space would be shaken on a terrifying scale. If you didn't hide far enough, you wouldn't even know how you died. Within the origin continent's world, the chaotic mists still floated, and soul worlds drifted within them. No one sensed the impending danger. Even those origin Tao lords probably didn't know they were about to face the fate of being sacrificed. This cycle, the world will had hidden itself very well. Back in the myriad worlds, Lin Moyu took out some Tao beast essence and let the myriad worlds absorb it. After several centuries, the myriad worlds had only refined 4 clusters of Tao beast essence. Each one saved the myriad worlds 40,000 years of time. As the myriad worlds grew stronger, its speed at refining Tao beast essence would only increase. The scarlet fire Tao spirit flew out and merged into the myriad worlds, bringing it a brand new great Tao. Now, the myriad worlds lacked fewer and fewer Taos, and each new one was rarer and harder to find. Lin Moyu knew he couldn't rush it and could only let fate decide. Now, he was getting closer and closer to becoming a Tao Lord, and these centuries had helped him decide how to choose among his 6 great Taos. He had already made up his mind whether to follow the human sovereign's path of mastering one Tao and supplementing with others, or to take a different route. In the soul world, the world tree had produced many new world spirits, which Lin Moyu sent into the bone hell to act as helpers. The myriad worlds now contained countless middle and small worlds, and the number of living beings had exploded. The world spirits were the perfect assistants, easing the burden on the little ones. Lin Moyu could tell the little ones enjoyed the work, cooperating smoothly with Heyu Black Prison. When his consciousness returned to his body, before he even opened his eyes, he sensed the changes in the world. The origin spiritual chi was denser than before, but the origin spirit veins hadn't increased. This chi appeared out of nowhere. Lin Moyu knew this was because the world will was about to awaken. The origin continent had nurtured countless origin spirit veins over the years, far more than he'd seen before. Most were hidden by the world will. Now, as it prepared to awaken, it needed vast amounts of origin spiritual chi and naturally released them. Lin Moyu slowly opened his eyes and was greeted by Antares's huge dragon eyes. "You're back." Antares's voice was low, as if suppressing some emotion. Lin Moyu asked, "What happened?" "See for yourself," Antares said, moving aside to let Lin Moyu look. The sky was gray and oppressive, with a suffocating aura blanketing everything. Defensive fortresses hung in the outer Great Tao, ready to fall at any moment. Beyond them, Tao realm powerhouses stood atop the fortresses, side by side, their eyes unfriendly. From their attire, it was clear they were all from the Hell Alliance. Many were first-tier innate soul Tao realm cultivators, exuding fierce auras. Above them were several Hell Alliance leaders. Antares said, "See, these guys are just waiting. As soon as your destiny ends, they'll make their move." Lin Moyu chuckled, "Are you afraid?" Antares snorted, "Afraid of what? I could kill a bunch of these clowns with a single breath." Lin Moyu said, "Exactly. They're just a bunch of jumping clowns, not worth worrying about." Antares grumbled, "It's just annoying to be stared at by a bunch of bugs every day. Don't you find it irritating?" Lin Moyu laughed. So that's what bothered him. Well, nothing to be done about it. The world was still sealed off, so neither side could act yet. Even when the time came, it would only be after Lin Moyu left the origin continent. These guys would never dare make a move inside the origin continent, or the world would destroy them. Looking around, Lin Moyu sensed the restrictions of heaven and earth. His destiny was indeed at its end. He also saw the changes on the central continent. There were now many first-tier innate soul Dao realm cultivators. When did the first-tier souls get in? Lin Moyu asked. Antares thought for a moment. About 20 years ago. Doing the math, Lin Moyu realized the world will was awakening faster than expected, dozens of years ahead of schedule. Normally, this shouldn't happen unless it sensed something. Given how powerful the world will was, it was only natural for it to have a premonition. Lin Moyu said, "Get ready. It's about to begin." Antares understood what Lin Moyu meant. "You're ready?" Lin Moyu nodded. "If nothing goes wrong, there's no problem. If something does, those guys outside can die with us." Antares gave a bitter laugh. "That pessimistic?" Lin Moyu said, "That's reality. So be mentally prepared." Antares snorted, "I'm not afraid of death. With so many dying with me, it's worth it." The two chatted and laughed, treating life and death as trivial matters. Lin Moyu drew divine runes, quickly forming a grand formation, which he continued to strengthen over time. The formation was layered and complex. No one, not even Antares, could understand what it was for. Lin Moyu offered no explanation. This was his true trump card. If his plan failed, not only would those from the outer great Dao die with him, but even the world will would perish. With his true spirit imprint in the world will's hands, his great Daos were restricted. Only the immortality great Dao could be used at full power. At his current cultivation, relying on only the immortality great Dao meant he couldn't defeat the world will. That's where the formation came in. It could at least hold off the world will for a while. During that time, 4 Dao level elemental liches would trigger great Dao punishment, dragging the world will down with them. Plus, Lin Moyu still had 3 void soul essence stones, 3 corpse explosions. He didn't believe he couldn't kill the world will. At worst, they'd all perish together. Year after year, the formation grew stronger in Lin Moyu's hands. The Dao realm cultivators from the outer great Dao didn't recognize the formation but could tell it was mainly defensive. They thought Lin Moyu was afraid and sneered. Only Antares knew Lin Moyu's real enemy wasn't these people. On the 50th year after Lin Moyu's return to the origin continent, the final barrier between heaven and earth was lifted. The world was fully restored. Dao lords could now enter the origin continent. At that moment, Lin Moyu's destiny also officially ended. Lin Moyu, come up and die. 3848. 3848. Chapter 3848, Striking for Eternity. A furious roar echoed across the sky. A Dao lord's voice spread throughout the origin continent. Everyone on the origin continent heard this voice. Some worried for Lin Moyu, while others sneered, ready to watch the show. Antares said, "That guy is the Yellow Springs Dao Lord. He died once before and was resurrected by the Hell Alliance leader, so he's not really dead." Lin Moyu nodded. He stood motionless within his formation and called out loudly, "If you've got guts, come down here." His tone was full of disdain and mockery. Everyone knew that as long as Lin Moyu didn't go out, those Dao lords couldn't do anything to him. The power of a Dao lord was too great and could easily damage the origin continent. If the origin continent was harmed, they would all suffer heavenly punishment. The Yellow Springs Dao Lord said coldly, "Lin Moyu, don't think hiding means you're safe. You can hide, but your forces can't. I'll give you 3/4 of an hour. If you don't come up, don't blame us for dragging others into this." They threatened Lin Moyu by targeting Yudao City, which everyone knew was his stronghold. Unable to deal with Lin Moyu directly, they turned to threaten Yudao City. But Lin Moyu remained unmoved, not reacting at all. This silent response was itself a mockery of the outer great Dao powerhouses, leaving them looking embarrassed. 3/4 of an hour passed quickly. The Yellow Springs Dao Lord's icy voice rang out again. "Since you want to be a turtle hiding in its shell, don't blame us." 4 first-tier innate soul Dao realm cultivators descended from the outer great Dao, flying toward Yudao City. In their eyes, mere Yudao City could be easily destroyed by just a few first-tier Dao realm experts. Some onlookers were puzzled. Didn't Lin Moyu have Dao lords helping him before? Where are they now? Yeah, didn't those Tao lords say anyone who attacked Lin Moyu would be their enemy? Why aren't they showing up? I heard they went to the Tao struggle and haven't come back yet. All of them, what a coincidence. Who knows, maybe Lin Moyu used up all his favors. Speculation swirled as everyone watched the 4 Tao realm experts arrive above Yudao City. From the outer Great Tao, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord gave a final ultimatum. Lin Moyu, last chance, come up and die, or this city will be wiped out. Lin Moyu snorted coldly, try it if you dare. He looked unconcerned, refusing to come out. The 4 Tao realm experts roared in anger and attacked together. Suddenly, sword light erupted. Yudao City burst forth with fierce sword radiance, transforming into 10,000 rays that shot into the sky, piercing through to the outer Great Tao. Within the sword light, the 4 first-tier innate soul Tao realm experts screamed as their bodies and souls were annihilated. They died on the spot. Everyone was stunned. Yudao City actually had a hidden powerhouse who, with one strike, killed 4 top-tier Tao realm experts. These weren't low-level Tao realm cultivators, they were first-tier, just below Tao lords. And they were killed just like that. What level of strength was that? The outer Great Tao fell silent. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord sneered bitterly, gritting his teeth, so there was a Tao Lord hiding here after all. His tone was full of dread. In his view, anyone who could instantly kill 4 first-tier Tao realm experts had to be a Tao Lord, and a very strong one at that. That Tao Lord hadn't revealed themselves, and they didn't know when he'd arrived. To hide right under their noses, his strength had to be extraordinary. No wonder Lin Moyu was so fearless with such a being guarding Yudao City. Who could do anything to it? Lin Moyu didn't answer. At this moment, his expression grew solemn. He felt the barrier between himself and the Great Tao rapidly thinning. An invisible pressure was spreading. His gaze pierced the outer Great Tao, seeing the mists beyond the world. The mists were being churned by an invisible force. In the soul void, the skeleton generals he had stationed everywhere sent back messages. There was a similar pressure spreading. Within the world, time suddenly began to slow, and space became viscous. Yet, the living beings inside the world felt nothing. Even Antares was unaware, as if nothing had changed. The world began to take form. The world will was manifesting as a giant. The real world and the soul void were synchronizing. The world will spanned both, transforming into a giant. The giant was like someone newly awakened, eyes still closed, struggling to coalesce. The world will is awakening. Lin Moyu sent his intent into a translucent jade slip, notifying the discernment beast. The jade slip vibrated lightly, indicating the discernment beast understood. In his soul world, the twilight drum and morning bell appeared. With a thought, Lin Moyu struck them, summoning the 2 emperors. The world will's awakening wasn't instantaneous. It would take some time, maybe half a day, maybe several days. As long as the discernment beast arrived before it fully awakened and used the golden furnace emperor's innate origin treasure to pin down the world will, the rest could be left to the morning bell and twilight drum emperors. Outside the origin continent in the soul void, several phantom bodies awakened, serving as Lin Moyu's eyes to observe the world will from different angles and distances. These phantoms inhabited innate virtual treasures, allowing Lin Moyu to see from afar. The giant formed by the world will was becoming whole, its aura violent and powerful, shaking the soul void. The discernment beast had said that the current world will was essentially an evil will, battle-hungry, ruthless, willing to destroy an era for its own sake. Even if its intelligence had been erased by the human sovereign spirit-seizing technique, its instinct for battle remained undiminished. Many world wills in the Jumu Great Spirit domain were the same. As the world will awakened, the great Taos of heaven and earth grew chaotic, affecting most cultivators. The outer Great Tao fell silent. They stopped harassing Lin Moyu, their thoughts forcibly interrupted by some power. In that moment, the powerhouses of the outer Great Tao lost the ability to think. Lin Moyu waited quietly. He had prepared everything, now he could only watch and wait. He couldn't leave the origin continent now. He could only sit still like everyone else, so as not to arouse suspicion. A day later, the world will had mostly recovered. It took the form of a giant, standing in the void, roaring endlessly. The chaotic mists were swept away by its roars, vanishing completely. Lin Moyu's phantom bodies, relying on innate virtual treasures, barely withstood the shock. The world will grew ever more complete, the entire world glowing faintly, and a unique aura was brewing. Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat. It's trying to break through to eternity. Everything was happening faster than expected. Destiny ended decades early, and the world will immediately began its breakthrough, no hesitation at all. As the world will struck for eternity, all great Taos were severed, and finally, people realized something was wrong. The great Tao, why can't I sense it anymore? What's happening? My connection is gone too. What's going on? The great Tao, why is the Tao gone? 3849, 3849. Chapter 3849, Slumber for 10,000 years. Countless people panicked as they lost their connection to the great Tao, unable to use any of their cultivation. Lin Moyu knew very well that when the world will attempted to break through to eternity, it would sever all great Taos, gathering all their power into itself. The next step would be sacrifice, using the power of countless Taos and living beings to nurture its own eternal qi. He possessed 6 great Taos, but 5 of them were now unusable, only the immortality great Tao remained unaffected. Antares lowered his gaze. Is it really like this? Lin Moyu nodded slightly. Don't panic. Antares haughtily raised his dragon eyes. Who's panicking? But the next second, he couldn't help but ask, are you sure it'll be alright? Lin Moyu shook his head. Hard to say. We can only wait. At this point, there was nothing he could do but wait. He trusted the discernment beast. He was sure it wouldn't betray him. Suddenly, he looked up and, through the world's mists, saw a figure. Lin Mohan had suddenly appeared in the world mist, sword in hand, ready to strike at any moment. Lin Moyu didn't know why he could suddenly see Lin Mohan from such a distance, especially since she was hidden in the mist. Even the world will couldn't see her. But he saw her, and sensed her battle intent. In the soul void, a phantom body suddenly saw a massive rift, and the discernment beast burst out from it. Alongside it was the Golden Furnace Emperor. The Golden Furnace Emperor held a golden cauldron, which flew out and rapidly expanded, casting 10,000 rays of golden light onto the world will. The world will shuddered, its massive head turning to glare at the Golden Furnace Emperor. Who are you? Its voice boomed, shaking the soul void. The Golden Furnace Emperor didn't speak, only shone the golden cauldron's light on the world will. Bathed in the golden radiance, the world will seemed unharmed, but its breakthrough to eternity was interrupted. Under the golden light, it withdrew its form and retreated into the world. Only then could Lin Moyu's plan proceed. The Golden Furnace Emperor and the Discernment Beast didn't attack, they simply used the treasure to lock the world will in place. Moments later, 2 powerful auras tore through the void. Lin Mohan suddenly sheathed her sword and left, vanishing into the mist. Lin Moyu noticed this and realized she had withdrawn because of the arrival of the Discernment Beast and the Golden Furnace Emperor. As for how she knew, there was no need to guess, someone must have told her. He had long suspected the person behind Lin Mohan was the white-robed elder who controlled the ancestral water gourd, and now he was sure. Within the origin continent, Lin Moyu quietly said, "Come into my soul world." Antares immediately split off a soul and entered Lin Moyu's soul world. Inside, Lin Moyu projected what was happening in the soul void and explained, "That's the Discernment Beast and the Golden Furnace Emperor." He had already told Antares about his plan, so Antares understood. Next, the void shattered, and the Morning Bell and Twilight Drum Emperors arrived. The 2 emperors said nothing, simply drove their treasures to attack the world will. Previously, the Golden Furnace Emperor hadn't moved, so the world will hadn't attacked either. Now, the world will roared in fury and fought back, countless great Taos appearing as millions of weapons slashing at the 2 emperors. The world will was powerful, only a step away from eternity, and had once defeated the world wills of the Black Blood and Heavenly God realms. But compared to emperors who had already reached eternity, let alone 2 at once, it was still lacking. The Morning Bell and Twilight Drum Emperors attacked together, easily suppressing the origin continent's world will. No matter how it resisted, it was useless. The Morning Bell and Twilight Drum combined their powers, forming space-time force. The world will's countless cause and effect Taos shattered at a touch. Space-time force swept forth, and the world will screamed in agony. In its rage, the world will drew on the power of the world, trying to use the strength of all living beings. Even Lin Moyu could only watch, unable to stop it. Time reversal. The 2 emperors acted in unison, reversing time and forcibly interrupting the world will's extraction. Its aura plummeted, space-time reversed, and all the wounds it had accumulated over countless years reappeared and erupted. The world will collapsed in agony, unable to maintain its form. The 2 emperors withdrew their attacks, not pursuing further. The Golden Furnace Emperor also withdrew his treasure. The world will, now shattered, struggled to form a pair of giant eyes, glaring hatefully at the emperors before dissipating. Lin Moyu let out a long breath. It's done. The great Tao's returned. He could sense that the world will had fallen into slumber once more. At this moment, the twilight drum in his soul world spoke. Lin friend, this world will was wounded by the power of time. It will sleep for at least 10,000 years. 10,000 years was the limit anymore, and the emperors would have to bear even greater karmic burdens. Lin Moyu sent a message. Thank you, Emperor. 10,000 years is enough. The Twilight Drum Emperor nodded. In that case, we'll take our leave. Lin friend, come visit us if you have the chance. Lin Moyu smiled. If I get the chance, I'll be sure to visit. The Morning Bell and Twilight Drum Emperors left without saying a word to the Golden Furnace Emperor. Then the Discernment Beast's voice sounded. I've done what I promised. We're even. If you need anything else, remember to bring something to trade. Lin Moyu didn't haggle. Thank you, Senior. I understand. The Discernment Beast and the Golden Furnace Emperor vanished into the void, and everything returned to calm. Antares was still stunned, unable to react. That's it, it's over. He'd been anxious for so long, ready to die, and yet it was all over in just a few moves. It felt unreal, hard to accept. Lin Moyu laughed. Isn't that a good thing? I thought there'd be a huge battle, with back and forth fighting and massive destruction. But the origin continent's world will was so easily suppressed. Turns out, if you haven't reached eternity, you're still far off. Antares said, I don't know how strong eternity really is, but it must be incredibly strong. Maybe it's like the difference between a Tao Lord and a Tao Realm cultivator, just worlds apart. With his intelligence, he couldn't describe it better, but Lin Moyu thought the analogy was at least close enough. If an emperor truly wanted to wipe out the origin continent, it wouldn't be hard, he just hadn't paid enough. Lin Moyu said, all right, now that the world will is asleep again, it's time to deal with those guys in the sky. Once that's done, I'll go with you to the Dragon Clan, and then I'll go searching for the true path to transcendence. Antares said, once this is over, I'll go with you. Lin Moyu grinned. Good, that way I won't have to fly myself. Antares glared fiercely. You want to use me as a mount? Lin Moyu laughed. You said it yourself, don't blame me. Antares snorted twice and left the soul world. Lin Moyu slowly stood up, looked toward the outer great Tao, and said word by word, time to settle accounts. 3850, 3850. Chapter 3850, History is written by the victors. I've put up with them long enough. Antares trembled all over, his dragon scales standing on end, excitement and bloodlust in his voice. Lin Moyu said, let me be clear, anyone at first tier innate soul or above is mine. The rest are yours. Antares turned his big head, you looking down on me? Lin Moyu shook his head. Of course not, save your strength for after we're done here, we're heading to the Dragon Clan. That's where you'll really shine. Antares thought about it and decided it made sense. Alright, I'll listen to you. These people have been an eyesore for a long time. Can you handle them? Lin Moyu smiled lightly. Isn't that what you're here for? If I can't handle it, you can jump in and help, right? Antares snorted. Of course, with me here, there's nothing to fear from them. Lin Moyu's words pleased him greatly. Antares snorted twice, looking very happy. For years, he'd been watched by countless eyes, unable to fight back and not good at arguing. He'd been holding back a lot of frustration. This time, he could finally let it out. Man and dragon slowly rose into the sky, leaving the origin continent and entering the outer great Tao. With the origin continents will once again in slumber, Lin Moyu's plan had succeeded, and he was finally free of worries, ready to give his all. At this moment, in the outer great Tao, the many powerhouses had all regained their senses. Unlike Lin Moyu, they had no idea what had just happened. To them, their minds had just blanked out for a moment, as if nothing had occurred. They didn't even realize their connection to the Great Tao had been severed. Now, seeing Lin Moyu leave the origin continent, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord sneered, finally willing to come out. With a wave of his hand, everyone sprang into action. The many experts of the Hell Alliance all glared murderously at Lin Moyu. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord said coldly, Lin Moyu, today is your death day. Any last words? Lin Moyu looked at them and sighed softly. The tragedy of ants is that they don't understand the heavens, the human heart, or the roots of all things. Even though you've cultivated to this point, you know nothing of the world or the true Tao. I'll send you on to the soul void for reincarnation. Maybe in your next life, you'll understand the order of heaven and earth. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord frowned. Are you crazy? You're just a Tao realm cultivator, and you dare talk to me like this? Your realm. He suddenly froze. Not only him, but the others also paused. Lin Moyu had entered the outer great Tao, and his realm was now clear to all. First tier innate soul Tao realm, how is that possible? Not even 1,000 years, and you've reached first tier innate soul. How did you do it? Impossible. Even with heaven's reward and destiny, you couldn't possibly be this fast. Lin Moyu's cultivation shattered their understanding. They couldn't believe someone could reach first tier innate soul in less than 1,000 years. Yet Lin Moyu had done it right before their eyes. What did that make all those who had cultivated for hundreds of thousands or even millions of years? Lin Moyu said, that's why you don't understand the Tao, nor the world. How pitiful. After the initial shock, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord said coldly, so what if you're first tier innate soul? You'll die today all the same. Defensive fortresses flew in from all directions, forming a battle array and encircling the land. These fortresses had been repaired. They were the front lines that resisted foreign invaders during the origin calamity, built with the best technology, formations, and materials from all the outer Great Tao's top experts. Each fortress was a gigantic puppet factory, capable of producing endless battle puppets. Even if the puppets weren't strong individually, their numbers made up for it. Countless shadows flew out from the fortress's puppets of all shapes and sizes, filling the void and surrounding Lin Moyu and Antares from all sides. Each puppet radiated an aura close to third-tier innate soul Tao realm, stronger than those from the origin calamity. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord said coldly, I know you have many puppets, but over the years, we've repaired the fortresses and created 100 billion puppet army. You won't even make it past them. Lin Moyu looked at the endless sea of puppets. They all had a similar aura. Antares grew agitated, muttering, those Dragon Clan bastards really did come. The reason these puppets were stronger than before was because of the Dragon Clan. The aura they emitted was that of the Dragon Clan. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord said, that's right. The Dragon Clan provided us with ancestral dragon blood, greatly boosting the puppets' strength. You were once the Dragon Crown Prince, but after betraying the clan, you were punished. Everyone thought you were dead, but you survived. Looks like the punishment wasn't harsh enough. Antares was furious. Bullshit. To him, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord's words were pure distortion and nonsense. Lin Moyu said, history is always written by the victors. There's no need to get angry. When you attack the Dragon Clan and kill those who wronged you, you'll be the one to write the Dragon Clan's history. Only the living have the right to tell future generations what happened. The dead can only stay silent. Hearing this, Antares gradually calmed down. You're right. Back then, I was the loser, so they could say whatever they wanted. But from now on, my words will be history. Lin Moyu looked at the Yellow Springs Tao Lord. You seem to have misunderstood something. I don't have any puppets. And 100 billion, that's really not enough. Snap. Lin Moyu snapped his fingers. Space twisted violently, and countless skeleton generals appeared out of thin air. Their terrifying auras merged into one, surging toward the outer Great Tao and shaking everyone's soul. As Lin Moyu's realm rose closer to Tao Lord, the skeleton general's power rose as well. Now, each skeleton general was first-tier innate soul and high level at that. Their numbers were beyond counting. At a glance, they outnumbered the puppet army. All the Tao realm cultivators were stunned. Then, a chill rose from the depths of their souls, sweeping through their bodies. Some looked terrified, some trembled. Higher realm, greater strength, more numbers, how could they possibly fight this? The Yellow Springs Tao Lord was also shocked. Impossible. Lin Moyu shook his head. That's why you know nothing of true power. Attack. With a thought, the skeleton generals attacked in unison. In an instant, boundless sword energy swept through the void. The so-called 100 billion puppets shattered in the sword light, turning into endless fragments. The fragments were devoured by the sword energy, leaving not even a trace behind. The skeleton generals scattered like deadly hornets, slaughtering in all directions, ripping the encirclement to shreds in moments. 3851. 3851. Chapter 3851. Not a monster, he's a prodigy. The puppet army couldn't withstand the assault of the skeleton generals at all. They collapsed in an instant and were wiped out in no time. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord's eyes widened. They had already done everything possible to estimate Lin Moyu's strength, but still found they had underestimated him. After hundreds of years of preparation, they thought victory was assured. Some even said, why use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken? They'd even factored in the Tao Lords backing Lin Moyu, but what greeted them was Lin Moyu's terrifying counterattack. This counterattack shattered all their plans. Watching the puppet army collapse, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord gritted his teeth. You're not dead yet, are you? The power of the Hell Great Tao surged forth like a waterfall from the heavens, forcibly opening a path straight toward Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu snorted, snapped his fingers again, and space-twisted a Legion commander appeared before him. Then, 10 million dragon riders appeared. The Legion commander raised his warblade, and with a metallic screech declared, "Bloody charge!" A blood and bone avenue manifested, with the dragon cavalry riding the Great Tao, transforming into a sharp arrow that shot straight at the Yellow Springs Tao Lord. The single combat strength of the dragon riders was no less than the skeleton generals. 10 million dragon riders united, riding the blood and bone avenue, launched their charge. There's a gap between first tier innate soul and a Tao Lord, but that gap can be bridged. One person's strength couldn't match the Yellow Springs Tao Lord, but the combined might of 10 million dragon riders could surpass him. The two great Taos collided just as the Yellow Springs Tao Lord attacked. He was sent flying back by the overwhelming force, and the great Tao he summoned shattered on the spot. With a single blow, the Yellow Springs Tao Lord was already injured. The Legion commander pressed the attack, leading the dragon cavalry to pursue. The Yellow Springs Tao Lord fought back in desperation, but was quickly suppressed and fell into disadvantage. Meanwhile, the skeleton generals finished off the puppet army and charged toward the defensive fortresses. The Tao realm experts all looked shocked as they fought the Legion commander. Antares charged out with a dragon's roar, targeting those below first tier innate soul. His jaws opened, unleashing a torrent of dragon breath. For a moment, the outer Great Tao was in chaos. In the distance, the Tao realm experts who had come to spectate were all dumbfounded. No one expected the battle to turn out like this. They had thought Lin Moyu was doomed, but he hadn't even lifted a finger, just snapped his fingers twice and crushed all their arrangements. These outer Great Tao powerhouses felt as if they'd been slapped in the face by this young man from the Origin continent. Within the Origin continent, many watched the battle as well. Some worried for Lin Moyu, but now it seemed that worry was completely unnecessary. In Yudao City, Little Mist and the others cheered in delight. Lin Moyu's victory made them the happiest of all. The defensive fortresses were destroyed, but their fragments didn't go to waste. The skeleton generals diligently gathered them up for Lin Moyu. The materials used to forge the fortresses were all top tier. They could be put into the myriad worlds, refined and transformed into materials belonging to the myriad worlds, saving much time in world evolution. The battle lasted only a short while before a massive aura surged from deep within the outer Great Tao. Avenues appeared in the Void Hell Alliance powerhouses had finally arrived. 11 Tao Lords stood atop their Taos, their pressure blanketing the sky. Originally, they'd planned to deal with the third ancestor and the others, but those Tao Lords hadn't shown up while the Yellow Springs Tao Lord's side was already defeated. The battle had moved so quickly that by the time they reacted, Lin Moyu alone had already decimated the Yellow Springs Tao Lord's forces. Lin Moyu sneered, "You're a bit late." The Hell Alliance had a total of 13 Tao Lords. Their leader was the most mysterious, rumored to be extremely powerful, likely an Origin Tao Lord. But no one knew which Great Tao he truly mastered. Compared to the leader, the other 12 Tao Lords were all branch Tao Lords like the Yellow Springs Tao Lord. In Lin Moyu's eyes, branch Tao Lords were nothing special. This time, the Hell Alliance had mobilized its entire force. Aside from the leader, everyone else was here. Accompanying the Tao Lords were tens of thousands of Tao realm powerhouses. Among them, there were over 1,000 first-tier innate souls, but when they saw the endless skeleton generals, their Tao hearts nearly collapsed. There were simply too many skeleton generals, so many that they lost the will to fight. They instinctively felt there was no way to win. The 11 Tao Lords who arrived split into two groups. 3 Tao Lords led their forces toward the Origin continent, heading straight for Yudao City. The other 8 Tao Lords drove their Taos at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu ignored those heading for Yudao City and snapped his fingers again. In an instant, 100 Legion commanders appeared, and over 100 million dragon riders roared in the void, forming countless blood and bone avenues. Bloody charge! The Legion commanders swung their warblades, transforming into a torrent that surged forward. Great Taos collided. Several Tao Lords were knocked flying, swept up by the overwhelming force, unable to control their flight. Countless skeleton generals attacked from all directions, bringing utter despair. The dragon cavalry surrounded the Tao lords, led by the legion commanders, launching a frenzied assault. And the mastermind, Lin Moyu, still stood there motionless. He was the orchestrator of this battle, now the biggest spectator with the best view. The three Tao lords led their forces into the origin continent, charging straight for Yudao City. Within Yudao City, endless sword energy soared. The Tao lords wielded their Taos to resist the sword energy. Outside Yudao City, the formation roared, and two five elements giants emerged from underground, shielding the city. The artifact spirit Datu wielded the sky-piercing sword, unleashing endless sword energy, keeping the three Tao lords at bay. Shao Jin stomped the earth, the origin spirit veins roared, and endless spiritual energy poured into the formation. A single punch was thrown. One punch became 100, then 1,000, then 10,000, in an instant, the world was filled with fist shadows. Though not a treasure, this punch was stronger than any treasure. With a single punch, the three Tao lords were blasted out of the origin continent, their Taos shattered. They were hurled back into the battlefield, where the legion commanders and dragon cavalry completed the encirclement. Below Tao lord, none survived. A single punch wiped them out. After countless years of cultivation, those Tao realm experts died so simply. What kind of formation is that? How can a formation be so strong? Even the formation Tao lord couldn't do this. This is Lin Moyu's work, his formation. No wonder he wasn't worried about Yudao City. Whoever comes, dies. Is Lin Moyu a monster? How can he be this strong? He's not a monster, he's a prodigy, an absolute prodigy. Lin Moyu's strength had surpassed everyone's expectations. To the outer great Tao powerhouses, Lin Moyu's strength was utterly unreasonable. But Lin Moyu didn't care what others thought. His strength was for him to define, not for others to judge. His gaze turned cold as he looked toward the void. Hell Alliance leader, how long do you plan to keep hiding? 3852, 3852. Chapter 3852, The Gate of Hell Opens. The Hell Alliance had mobilized nearly all its forces, with only its leader remaining unseen. He hid in the void, escaping everyone's notice except Lin Moyu's. Under the eye of the undead, very few could conceal themselves. Suddenly, the void turned blood red, with endless wails and screams piercing straight into the soul, making one nauseous. Cultivators who heard this felt their souls tremble, their bodies go weak, and were unable to muster any strength at all. Amid the crimson light, a patch of ominous ground slowly emerged, as if hell itself had descended upon the world, filling all who saw it with dread. A cold, sinister voice echoed through the void. I didn't expect to be exposed by a little brat. Lin Moyu chuckled, so you really did inherit the Hell Lord's Tao. Back then, the Hell Lord had faked his death to escape, his great Tao shattering and returning to the world. It was only natural that a successor would appear. Most of the Hell fragments had ended up in the outer Great Tao, with only a small part entering the origin continent. Someone who inherited the Hell Lord's legacy and gathered the Hell fragments could quickly advance. It all made sense. During the world will's slumber, no one would interfere. Even if he learned some of the Hell Lord's secrets from the fragments, it didn't matter. Still, Lin Moyu doubted the Hell Lord would have left behind anything truly dangerous, but the human heart is the hardest thing to predict. The former Hell Lord, whose Tao heart was broken and became the other Shore Realm Lord. Let's see how much courage this new Hell Lord has, Lin Moyu thought to himself. He called out, I wonder how much of the Hell Lord's Tao you've inherited. The Hell Alliance leader laughed coldly, he's dead. Now I am the Hell Lord. Hell will devour you. As he spoke, Hell expanded, covering a vast area and trapping 1,000,000 skeleton generals inside. Ferocious Hell spirits surged out, clashing and entangling with the skeleton generals. His Hell spirits were different from those in the Bone Hell, more savage, but missing something, more like wild beasts. Lin Moyu saw the difference at a glance. His own Hell spirits could devour anything, while the others could only bite and crush, not truly consume. In comparison, his Bone Hell was far stronger. The mysterious Hell Alliance leader revealed himself, causing all the Tao realm cultivators to retreat far away in fear. So he's the new Hell Lord. He inherited the former Hell Lord's Tao. No wonder it's called the Hell Alliance. It really is. The former Hell Lord was tyrannical and invincible. Who knows how strong his successor is? He seems powerful, or else the other Tao Lords wouldn't follow him so obediently. Even after 10 million years, the Hell Lord's legend remained, and people still feared him. After all, he was once the strongest in the origin continent, even forcibly refining the lunar ancestral dragon, which scared the solar ancestral dragon into fleeing far away. Now, how could his successor be weak? Hell descended, devouring countless skeleton generals. A colossal gate of hell stood at its center, with the Hell Alliance leader atop it, his posture eerily similar to the legendary Hell Lord. Hell continued to expand, as if it would swallow the entire battlefield. But while it frightened others, it did not frighten Lin Moyu. In his eyes, this gate of hell was nothing, completely useless. The Hell Great Tao was the same. He had countless ways to kill his opponent. But since hell had appeared, he wouldn't waste the opportunity. Lin Moyu pointed a finger, space twisted violently, and the bone hell appeared. The two hells collided with a thunderous crash, terrifying power surging in all directions. With a roar, Heiyu the Netherworld Black Dragon charged straight at the Hell Alliance leader, spewing dragon breath. For nearly 1,000 years, the bone hell had become the dark side of the myriad worlds, the place where all souls went after death. It seemed as if it devoured nothing, but in truth, it was constantly feeding every moment, every second. It no longer consumed only powerful beings and treasures, but the original essence of all living things. Its effect was no less than that of any treasure. As the number of living beings in the myriad worlds grew, the bone hell's consumption increased, and Heiyu only grew stronger. Now, the bone hell was even stronger than Lin Moyu himself, capable of devouring even Tao Lords. The two hells clashed, their spirits erupting into a fierce battle. Heiyu went straight for the Hell Alliance leader, unleashing dragon breath and roars. "You have a hell too." For the first time, a trace of panic appeared in the Hell Alliance leader's voice. Lin Moyu sneered, "Looks like you haven't done your homework on me." The Hell Alliance leader roared in anger, unleashing wave after wave of attacks with the Hell Great Tao. Heiyu opened his jaws wide, swallowing all the attacks whole. Once refined by the Hell Lord, Heiyu was essentially part of Hell itself and retained some of that power. Attacks from Hell meant nothing to him. The other shore flower beyond what swayed, illuminating the outer Great Tao. All Tao realm cultivators felt their bodies grow heavy, their power greatly diminished. The other shore flower was a symbol of Hell, now present in the bone hell, but absent from the Hell Alliance leader's hell. If you had to judge which was real, Lin Moyu's bone hell was the genuine article. The Hell Alliance leader was battered by Heiyu's attacks, his own power proving useless. He was left frustrated and helpless. He rushed to the gate of hell and slammed his palm down. The gate of hell thundered open, but this was not the same gate as before. The former Hell Lord, even at his death, never opened the gate of hell, knowing it was pointless and that only a clone would die. He only wanted to escape the world will's grasp as quickly as possible. But this Hell Alliance leader didn't care, opening the gate of hell directly. Behind the gate, endless hellfire spewed forth, and the true power of the Hell Great Tao surged out. "Lin Moyu, this is the first time I've opened the gate of hell. To let you see it before you die is a blessing for you." He seemed utterly confident that the gate of hell would kill Lin Moyu. The power of the Hell Great Tao raged, blasting Heiyu aside. The outer Great Tao turned blood red, and bizarre hell beasts charged out, each one as powerful as a skeleton general. More and more hell beasts appeared, densely packed. The Hell Alliance leader stood atop the gate. "Even if you have countless puppets, hell's beasts are endless. You'll be worn down and die eventually." Lin Moyu looked at him. "Do you know why the former Hell Lord only opened the gate of hell once?" The Hell Alliance leader snorted. With his strength, he didn't need to rely on the gate of hell. Lin Moyu shook his head. Because he didn't want to start a Tao struggle. As soon as he finished speaking, wild laughter echoed from behind the gate of hell. "Finally, someone has opened the gate of hell again. At last, my Hell Great Tao is complete." 3853, 3853. Chapter 3853, Weak, Too Weak. Lin Moyu recalled something the former Lord of Hell, now the Lord of the Other Shore, once said. Back then, he'd asked what exactly was behind the gate of hell before the Lord of Hell fused with it. The answer, boiled down, was just 4 words: Tao struggle. A section AAA. The Hell Great Tao is an origin Great Tao, but also a projected Great Tao. It's a very special Tao. To conduct a Tao struggle, it doesn't need to seek out worlds or other Tao lords. It only needs to open the gate of hell to initiate a Tao struggle. Throughout history, countless people have opened the gate of hell, launching one Tao struggle after another. In the end, a powerful being would stand out, surpassing most Hell Dao lords. That being would be very close to the true body Dao Lord of the Hell Great Dao. That's why, after opening the gate of Hell once, the former Lord of Hell gave up on the idea of Dao struggle and forged a different path, becoming a world lord. But then he encountered the world will and had to give up again. He was lucky enough to obtain that gate, as well as the Shidian stone and the Immortal Jade, and managed to escape disaster. But this time, the Hell Alliance leader had no idea what was behind the gate of Hell. When he heard the voice, he was clearly stunned. A figure, completely shrouded in magma, appeared behind the gate of Hell, exuding a terrifying aura. The gate, which had only been half open, now fully opened. The Hell Alliance leader suddenly realized he had lost control of the gate of Hell. That magma figure filled him with terror. The other party also radiated the aura of the Hell Great Dao, but much stronger than his own. The Hell Alliance leader suddenly realized what was happening and blurted out, "Dao struggle." Lin Moyu chuckled and shook his head. "Not too stupid. You dared to open the gate without even knowing what's behind it. Prepare to face your Dao struggle. But you're dead for sure." Lin Moyu had seen a true body Dao Lord before and knew how strong they were, just a step below eternity. A powerful true body Dao Lord could go head to head with the Origin Continent's world will at its peak. The Hell Alliance leader was nothing in comparison. The Magma Man stepped out from behind the gate of Hell and looked up at the Hell Alliance leader. "You're the last one I need for my Dao." His raspy voice seemed to tug at the soul. Others just found it uncomfortable, but to the Hell Alliance leader, it was agony. Magma surged, hellfire roared upward, and shot straight at the Hell Alliance leader. He stood frozen, unable to move, and as the Lord of Hell approached, he suddenly exploded in a scream. "Weak, truly too weak. I remember this gate of Hell. The last guy who opened it wasn't this weak. He was quick to flee, so I didn't make it in time. But no matter, a Dao struggle is a Dao struggle. You'll complete my Dao." His words were like a death sentence for the Hell Alliance leader, who screamed and struggled, but it was useless. His Dao was completely absorbed by the other, his power fading rapidly. Facing this being, the Hell Alliance leader was like a baby facing an adult utterly powerless. In just a few moments, his Dao shattered, and all the power he'd cultivated over countless years vanished. A powerful Dao Lord fell, just like that. Although the Hell Alliance leader died, the hell he summoned did not disappear. The Bone Hell continued to battle it, refusing to yield, and gradually gained the upper hand, its hell spirits devouring the other side. The Magma Man's aura kept rising, his Dao roared, and the magma behind the gate of Hell raged. A great Dao appeared, piercing the heavens and earth. His aura grew ever stronger, as if he were breaking through the Dao Lord realm and reaching a new level. Lin Moyu understood. He was still a Dao Lord, but had transformed from a projected Dao Lord into a true body Dao Lord. Becoming a true body Dao Lord meant no more need for Dao struggles. He could control the Dao's true body and enter the Origin ancestral land at will. From then on, he was the master of the Hell Great Dao. As long as the Dao existed, he could not die. Though not truly eternal, he now had half a foot in the eternal realm. Unfortunately, the Origin land had no more open spots, so he was destined never to become truly eternal, only to approach it infinitely. The nameless Dao Lord's gaze swept across the battlefield and finally landed on Lin Moyu. "Your hell is interesting." He could see that Lin Moyu didn't cultivate the Hell Great Dao, but Lin Moyu's bone hell was so similar to the real thing that it piqued his interest. Lin Moyu smiled. "Do you have any advice, senior?" The Dao Lord mused. "I'm interested in your hell. I'd like to borrow it for a bit." To have his bone hell targeted, Lin Moyu didn't panic at all. "If you have the ability, you're welcome to try. But let me remind you, becoming a true body Dao Lord is no easy feat. Be careful not to die and lose your Dao." Lin Moyu's words clearly angered the other. After all, in his eyes, Lin Moyu was just a first-tier innate soul Dao realm cultivator. How could he compare to a true body Dao Lord? In the outer Great Dao, countless people had just witnessed what happened. The Hell Alliance leader was easily devoured, becoming the last stepping stone for the others' ascension. Everyone present knew how powerful that being was. No one could stand against him. Yet Lin Moyu dared to speak to him like that. Wasn't that courting death? The other was clearly amused into anger. "Very well, you'll be the first person I kill after becoming a true body Dao Lord." Lin Moyu smiled. "You'll have to be able to kill me first." Space twisted beside him, and 4 elemental liches appeared. One great Dao after another manifested, and 4 pairs of little eyes stared at the newly ascended true body Dao Lord. The true body Dao Lord was about to act, but suddenly paused. He could tell that the 4 elemental liches were summoning the true bodies of their great Daos, not projections. For a moment, his mind stalled, and he blurted out, "What are these things?" Lin Moyu smiled. "That's not your concern. You can try to kill me if you want. But I'll say this. I may not be your match, but I'm absolutely confident I can take you down with me. You might become the shortest-lived true body Dao Lord in all of existence. Are you interested?" Lin Moyu's threat was naked and direct, giving no face at all. Now things were awkward. The true body Dao Lord stood there, unable to decide whether to fight or not. If he fought, he might die; if he didn't, he'd lose face. He hesitated, while Lin Moyu stood motionless, but the 4 elemental liches were already poised to strike. After a moment, the Dao Lord sighed. "You have guts, Taoist friend. May I ask your name?" Lin Moyu replied, "My surname is Lin." At this point, Lin Moyu knew the other wouldn't make a move, and he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. If possible, he didn't want to fight a true body Dao Lord. The Dao Lord said quietly, "I am Zhang Ziwen, from the Jumu Great Spirit Domain. If you have the chance, Taoist Lin, you're welcome to visit." So he was from the Jumu Great Spirit Domain too. Lin Moyu kept a straight face. "I'll remember that. If I get the chance, I'll visit. Take care, Senior Zhang." 3854. 3854. Chapter 3854. This show isn't over yet. The gate of hell closed, hell dissipated, and this brief Dao struggle came to an end. Zhang Ziwen left. As a newly ascended true body Dao Lord, even if he'd lost face, so what? Who would dare say a word about it? That would be courting death. Besides, nearly everyone present would never know where the Jumu Great Spirit Domain was. People like Lin Moyu are exceedingly rare. Lin Moyu swept his gaze across the void. "Alright, let's continue." Snap. Another finger snap like the prelude to death's arrival summoned another 10 billion skeleton generals. For Lin Moyu, deploying 20 billion skeleton generals in total was just a drop in the bucket compared to his full strength. But to these outer great Dao cultivators, that number was a cataclysm. He still has more. How can he still have more? How many puppets does he have? How are we supposed to fight this? It's impossible. Run. If we don't run, we'll die here. Everyone panicked, desperate to escape. Lin Moyu sneered, trying to run. Power surged, soul force rolled out, and 6 great Daos appeared behind him, extending down and landing at his feet. Lin Moyu wasn't a Dao Lord, yet he stood atop the great Daos, even more terrifying than a Dao Lord. From the start of the battle until now, this was the first time Lin Moyu personally acted. Power Great Dao Divine Ability, Divine Strength. With the divine ability activated, Lin Moyu's aura soared, instantly reaching the peak of first tier innate soul. Though he hadn't broken through to Dao Lord, he was already not much weaker than one. With the divine abilities boost, all subsequent attacks and spells were amplified 1,000-fold. Time, reverse. Lin Moyu gave a low shout. The time Great Dao roared, invisible power flooding out in all directions. In a vast area, time began to flow backward. Those who had just escaped didn't get far before being pulled back. His cultivation might not match a Dao Lord, but his control over the Great Dao was no weaker than any ordinary Dao Lord. With the divine abilities amplification, the effect of time reversal was magnified. Even Dao Lords struggled to resist. The World Tree continuously supplied soul force, letting Lin Moyu manipulate the Great Dao for extended periods. The Hell Alliance's people, affected by the time Great Dao, involuntarily reversed course, not even realizing what was happening. Time reversal merely brought them back. Lin Moyu flicked his finger and activated the 3rd Great Dao. Space Great Dao Divine Ability, Cage. Vast swaths of space were sealed, while space power crashed in from all sides. Endless attacks bombarded the area, filling the air with screams as countless cultivators were pulverized by the Space Great Dao. Even those who survived the space onslaught faced the frenzied slaughter of the skeleton generals. In an instant, blood rained down, falling onto the origin continent, a true blood rain. This blood rain was infused with immense power, containing the essence of the Great Dao. As it merged into the origin continent, it brought vitality and endless benefits to the cultivators living there. The divine abilities of the Great Dao were incredibly effective. Lin Moyu was very satisfied. If the projected Daos were already this strong, then using the true body Daos would be even more devastating. He flicked his finger and activated the 4th Great Dao, the Immortality Great Dao. Great Tao divine ability, life or death. With a thought, the divine ability, carrying boundless power, descended. Wherever the power of death swept, nothing survived. No matter what powers or treasures the cultivators used, they couldn't withstand the devouring force of death. Treasures corroded and turned to junk. Even powerful bodies and souls were destroyed. Within the space cage, there was no escape. Only the undead legion and Antares were unaffected. Not only were they unaffected, Antares' power was further enhanced as massive vitality surged into his body, raising his aura as if he were about to break through to Tao Lord. With the divine ability life or death, the undead legion lives, Antares lives, everyone else dies. As the master of the divine ability, Lin Moyu could clearly sense that this one was far more domineering than the others. After all, it directly mobilized the power of the true body Great Tao, completely different from the projected Taos. The projected Taos had to pass through the world will, like a middleman, and were thus always somewhat affected. When Lin Moyu acted, it was a massacre. In just a few moves, nearly all the Tao realm cultivators of the Hell Alliance were dead. Antares shouted in dissatisfaction, "You're going too far, leave some for me." Lin Moyu replied, "Sorry, got carried away." Antares yelled, "Doesn't matter. Other than those Tao lords, the rest are mine." Lin Moyu readily agreed, "No problem." With a thought, the legion commanders ordered the dragon cavalry to ease their assault. The 12 Tao lords tried again and again to break out, but it was futile. Despair filled their faces, especially after seeing their own leader, after opening the gate of hell, get killed by Zhang Ziwen. Now, all hope was lost. The dragon cavalry was strong enough to surround and kill Tao lords, but it took time. Great Tao divine ability, life or death. Lin Moyu unleashed the divine ability again, death force pouring down. The Tao lords used their Taos to barely resist, but couldn't hold out for long. With a wave of his hand, he gathered the shattered corpses and fragments. He locked onto one with his will and activated a technique corpse explosion. Boom! A signature explosion echoed across the outer Great Tao. A Tao lord screamed as a hole was blasted through his body. Though the hole wasn't large, it terrified him. The explosion ignored his defenses, pierced his Tao, and struck directly, truly horrifying. Lin Moyu didn't know this Tao lord's name or which Great Tao he cultivated, it didn't matter. He didn't care what tier of innate soul his target was, also irrelevant. If he died, Lin Moyu would pick another, if not, he'd keep going. Corpse explosion after corpse explosion, the blasts kept coming. When he ran out of corpses, he gathered more and continued. The real world was a bit trickier than the Soul Void. In the Soul Void, the district lords could kill Tao lords in just a couple of blows. Lin Moyu muttered to himself, luckily no one heard, or they'd surely call him ruthless. Amid the screams, Tao lords were blown to pieces, one after another. The divine ability sealed space, no one could escape. Despair blanketed the entire battlefield. Outside the battlefield, the spectators' faces grew grim. Lin Moyu's power left them speechless. A man who wasn't even a Tao lord had destroyed the Hell Alliance's painstakingly built defensive fortresses, slain 12 Tao lords, and wiped out an ancient force that had existed for countless years. Such strength rivaled the legendary Hell Lord himself. Lin Moyu had advanced to the Tao realm right under their noses, reaching this level in less than 1,000 years. People like this were not to be provoked. In many people's hearts, Lin Moyu was now the strongest in the origin continent. Suddenly, someone remembered something and spoke excitedly. The Dragon Clan is in trouble. That's right, Lin Moyu said he'd attack the Dragon Clan. I hope none of them survive this time. This show isn't over yet, there's more to watch. 3855. 3855. Chapter 3855, Arriving at the Dragon Clan. The Dragon Clan holds a very special status in the outer Great Tao. They are powerful and domineering, often unreasonable. Most cultivators prefer not to provoke the Dragon Clan, as it's hard to reason with them. Even if you're in the right, you'll suffer; if you're in the wrong, it's even worse. Many times, when the Dragon Clan is unreasonable, they simply use force. They're far better at solving problems through fighting. Over time, their reputation has worsened, and most cultivators dislike the Dragon Clan. Those without powerful backers, especially those from humble origins, resent the dragons even more and can't wait for them to fall. So when Lin Moyu declared he would attack the Dragon Clan, everyone was eager to watch the spectacle. The Hell Alliance used to be dominant, too few dared provoke them on the outer Great Tao, and now they've been wiped out. It's easy to imagine how, after this war, the places once controlled by the Hell Alliance will be swarmed by enemies, all eager to kick them while they're down. The Hell Alliance is finished, next up is the Dragon Clan. The great battle ended, and not a single one of the 12 Dao Lords survived. All the Dao Realm cultivators they brought were slaughtered as well. The Hell Alliance's top strength was completely wiped out. Vast power now overflowed in the world. When the strong die, their power returns to heaven and earth. This was the outer Great Tao. If this battle had taken place on the origin continent, it might have created a new sacred land for cultivation. Antares bit down on his last opponent, exclaiming excitedly, "That was great, I haven't fought like this in so many years." Lin Moyu smiled, "There's more to come. It's time for us to go to the Dragon Clan." Antares' expression shifted, his smile fading into seriousness. "All right, climb on, I'll take you there." Lin Moyu landed on Antares' head, and with a dragon's roar, Antares flew toward the solar origin. On the origin continent, there are two origins, solar and lunar. The current Dragon Clan was born from the solar origin, forming the Yang Dragon Great Tao. Their usual home is on the Yang Dragon Great Tao, close to the solar origin. Near the Yang Dragon Great Tao lies a desolate void. Other Taos once existed here, but the powerful Dragon Clan drove them all away. Now, nothing remains. Lin Moyu asked, "Are you really sure about this?" Antares replied, "Of course. I've waited countless years for this revenge, of course I'll go through with it." Though he said this, Lin Moyu could hear a hint of reluctance in his voice. After all, they were his own kind. When it came to exterminating his race, Antares' personality might not allow him to go through with it. He was just tough talking. Deep down, he still felt something for his kin. Lin Moyu wouldn't force him. As long as he achieved his own goals, it wasn't necessary to wipe out the entire Dragon Clan. As they drew closer to the solar origin, the temperature rose rapidly, and the void began to distort under the solar origin's power. Lin Moyu said calmly, "Back then, the solar origin gave birth to the solar ancestral dragon, who founded the Yang Dragon Clan. The lunar origin gave birth to the lunar ancestral dragon, but he preferred solitude and didn't found a dragon clan. That's why your Yang Dragon Clan has always been lone. Yang doesn't last. If the lunar ancestral dragon had also founded a clan, and the Yin and Yang Dragon clans could cooperate, maybe you'd be the rulers now." Antares nodded, "Yes, our records say the ancestral dragon once sought out the lunar ancestral dragon and said something similar, but the lunar ancestral dragon refused." Lin Moyu asked, "He was later refined into the netherworld black dragon by the Lord of Hell. Do you know why he refused?" Antares replied, "Apparently, it was because their philosophies differed. The records say the lunar dragon felt that cooperation between the two clans wasn't safe and would bring disaster, so he refused." Lin Moyu could guess why the lunar dragon said that. He must have sensed something and made that decision. The two ancestral dragons were the earliest beings of this era, predating even the human race. If the two clans had joined forces, there would have been no place for humans. But if they grew too strong, with both yin and yang, a top-tier powerhouse might emerge and eventually cross the world will's line. That would bring about the destruction of this era. The lunar dragon probably sensed the danger and gave up on founding a clan. As a result, the human race eventually emerged and became the most important group on the origin continent, surpassing the dragons. As they chatted, Antares finally entered the Dragon Clan's territory. A dragon-shaped great Tao coiled through the void, radiating the solar origin's energy. The Yang Dragon Great Tao has another peculiarity: it doesn't exist in the origin ancestral land. It was formed from the origin continent's solar origin and belongs only to this world. In other words, someone like Antares, though powerful on the origin continent, would lose most of his power if he left it. Then, only the Dragon Clan's strong bodies would remain as their source of strength. This applied not just to Antares, but to the entire Dragon Clan. So they were strong, but their strength was very limited. Antares hadn't been here in countless years, his eyes were full of memories. Suddenly, his expression turned to rage. Lin Moyu's brows furrowed too, as a surge of anger rose within him. Hundreds of divine dragons were bound and suspended on the Great Tao. All of them were badly injured and on the verge of death. On the Great Tao, a formation was operating, constantly striking the dragons with lightning. The lightning wasn't strong, but it was like countless small knives, torturing the dragons. Among the hundreds of dragons, Lin Moyu recognized one, the sky dragon he'd met in the Great World. Back then, the Sky Dragon had helped him, and now he was bound and being tortured. Before Antares could act, Lin Moyu struck first. Great Dao Divine Ability, Cage. The Space Great Dao enveloped the formation, smashing it to pieces in an instant. Lin Moyu used brute force to shatter the formation, then used space power to bring all the punished dragons back. He immediately used a second divine ability. Great Dao Divine Ability, Life or Death. This time, instead of death, a surge of life force descended, enveloping the dragons and rapidly healing their injuries. They're badly hurt not just physically, but their souls as well, Lin Moyu said after a glance, already understanding the details. Antares suppressed his anger. Can you heal them? Lin Moyu replied, no problem, but let's not rush. We should find out what happened first. All the dragons were unconscious. Antares breathed dragon breath over the Sky Dragon. Aobai, wake up. The Sky Dragon's name was Aobai, and he was distantly related to Antares almost like a brother. Aobai slowly woke under the dragon breath. Seeing Antares, he immediately cried out, Crown Prince, run. Hey, it's too late. A cold laugh rang out as a formation appeared, enveloping the world and trapping Lin Moyu and Antares inside. 3856. 3856. Chapter 3856. Have seen a bit, but can't guarantee authenticity. Thunder roared deafeningly, and countless bolts of lightning danced in the sky. A trap, a formation. Lin Moyu laughed using a formation as a trap in front of him. Not just the Dragon Clan. Even if the current formation Dao Lord or the former world-sealing Dao Lord took action, it wouldn't be enough to impress him on the origin continent. Lin Moyu knew his own formation skills had long surpassed the continent's peak level. The formation before him looked complex, but to his eyes, it could be broken with ease. In fact, he'd already noticed this hidden formation on his way in, but didn't expose it. He wanted to see what the Dragon Clan was up to, and it was also a way to help Antares make up his mind. Antares frowned. Aobai, explain what's going on. Why are you here? Aobai said, after I left that great world, I managed to return to the outer Great Dao. I spent some time merging with it and regaining my strength. Later, when the upheaval broke out, I saw the Crown Prince in the outer Great Dao and knew he'd return someday, so I secretly came back to the Dragon Clan and contacted those who supported him. But in the end, we were discovered. After a big battle, we were all trapped in the Thunderbone Dragon shearing array. He coughed. They didn't kill us, they wanted to wait for the Crown Prince to come and see what had become of us. We just weren't strong enough to help him. Antares' anger was rising, but he stayed rational and explained to Lin Moyu, our Dragon Clan, as a race born from the solar origin, has some special abilities. Relying on the solar origin, we can break through the world's limits and enter or leave the origin continent. But after entering the origin continent, our power is also suppressed by the world's upper limit. Back when Aobai was punished and sent to the origin continent, he couldn't grow stronger, so that was his punishment. Only now did Lin Moyu understand why Aobai, despite his great Dao realm cultivation, hadn't been strong in the great world. His power was limited by the world's rules and its ceiling. At that time, the divine path was cut off in the great world, and sacred Venerable was the limit, so that was Aobai's cap as well. Aobai said weakly, luckily, the Crown Prince once gave me a branch of the Dragon God Tree. I brought it with me, and although I was restricted, I could at least protect myself. After coming back, I was able to recover to my peak for a while, but so many years were wasted. Now I can't even beat those I used to defeat. He sighed, full of helplessness. Antares snorted, no matter. Now that I'm back, those guys will pay. In the distance, dragon roars echoed, followed by laughter. So what if you're back? Now you're trapped in the 10,000 dragons world-ending array, and can't even save yourself. Better think about how to survive. Hundreds of divine dragons flew over, stopping outside the formation. The leading dragon was surrounded by the aura of a great Dao Lord, but for some reason, Lin Moyu felt something was off. He had the aura of a Dao Lord, but didn't seem like a real one. On his head was a purple gold crown, radiating a powerful aura. It was a mighty treasure. Lin Moyu looked closely and realized that this dragon wasn't a true Dao Lord, but was using the purple gold crown to fake the aura. His real cultivation was only first-tier innate soul, half a step from Dao Lord. This purple gold crown seemed familiar. Thinking back, Lin Moyu remembered seeing it on the dragon god's head when searching for dragon balls in a small world for Antares. Antares glared at the lead dragon, his tone turning fierce. "Ow you, why is the dragon god crown on your head? Ao Yu snorted, I am the current dragon god and clan chief. Of course the dragon god crown belongs to me. Antares narrowed his eyes. Where did he go? Ao Yu replied, that old guy abdicated and left. Impossible. What really happened? Tell me. Antares roared, finally unable to contain his long repressed rage. Ao Yu sneered, you can barely protect yourself, so why care? Even if you want to know, I might not tell you. Antares bellowed, I'll tear you apart. Lin Moyu patted Antares. No need to rush. I have my ways to make him talk. In front of me, there are no secrets. Antares remembered Lin Moyu's techniques and calmed down. All right. The formation rumbled, thunder serpents danced, and countless divine dragons manifested, spewing thunderous dragon breaths at Antares. Antares roared back with his own dragon breath, blocking the thunder. The 10,000 dragons world-ending array had just started, so its power wasn't yet at its peak. The formation's feature was that it would grow stronger over time, killing its victims in despair. Antares could hold out for now, but not for long. Lin Moyu waved his hand, activating a Great Dao Divine ability. Great Dao Divine ability, Cage. Space enveloped the formation, bombarding it violently. The 10,000 dragons world-ending array was strong, but under the Space Great Dao's assault, it didn't budge. Lin Moyu noticed another formation outside the main one, greatly boosting its defense. A double-layered formation. Interesting. Suddenly, Lin Moyu's voice echoed in all directions. Senior Waterstop, since you're here, why not show yourself? A few breaths later, a gentle laugh sounded through the world. Lin Taoist, long time no see. The former Waterstop Heavenly Venerable appeared, smiling. Lin Moyu said, should I call you Senior Waterstop or World Sealing Dao Lord now? Either is fine, no need for such formality between us. His tone was kind, with no hint of hostility. Lin Moyu asked, did you come to help the Dragon Clan perfect the 10,000 Dragons world-ending array because you want to be my enemy? The World Sealing Dao Lord chuckled, I'm here for two things. First, to complete a transaction with the Dragon Clan. I perfected their formation, and they gave me 3 Dragon God Tree branches. Second, to do a bit of business with you, Lin Taoist. Lin Moyu was intrigued. Let's hear it. What business? At this moment, Ao Yu suddenly shouted, World Sealing Dao Lord, what's the meaning of this? The World Sealing Dao Lord snorted, didn't you hear? I'm here to talk business with Lin Taoist. Why are you butting in? Ao Yu said, but he's someone we must kill. Why talk business with a dead man? Lin Moyu burst out laughing. This guy's a real idiot. The World Sealing Dao Lord shook his head. He is a bit, but I wanted the Dragon God Tree branches, so I had to put up with him. Ao Yu, mocked by the two, grew furious. Lin Moyu, you're courting death. He didn't dare lash out at the World Sealing Dao Lord, so he vented at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu ignored him and turned to the World Sealing Dao Lord. Didn't they see the great battle in the outer Great Dao just now? The World Sealing Dao Lord smiled mysteriously. They saw a bit, but I can't guarantee it was authentic. Lin Moyu couldn't help but laugh. He already understood what the World Sealing Dao Lord had done. Ao Yu and the others were stunned. What did, can't guarantee authenticity, mean? 3857, 3857. Chapter 3857, No Breaking, No Building. Before arriving at the Dragon Clan, from a great distance, Lin Moyu had already detected a massive formation. This formation was extremely well concealed. Ordinary people would never notice it. At that time, Lin Moyu knew exactly whose handiwork it was. On the Origin continent, only the World Sealing Dao Lord had the skill to set up such a formation. The function of the formation was simple. It blocked some information and made other information appear false. It was similar to an illusion array, but even more subtle. The formation was vast, covering the entire Dragon Clan territory. Because of this, the information the Dragon Clan received was all filtered. Basically, they only saw what the World Sealing Dao Lord wanted them to see. During the previous great battle, the Dragon Clan didn't check things out in person, they used various methods to observe from afar. But the information they got was altered by the formation, so what they saw wasn't real. Lin Moyu didn't know exactly what the Dragon Clan saw, but it was certain they didn't see him slaughter the entire Hell Alliance. Otherwise, they would never have dared to speak to him like this. The Dragon Clan was simply too arrogant. They didn't even realize when they'd been sold out. Lin Moyu had already figured out the cause and effect. Let's talk business, then. Senior, what do you want? The world-sealing Tao Lord chuckled and spat out a single word, wine. Lin Moyu was stunned. He'd expected some rare treasure or heavenly material, but it turned out all he wanted was wine. He even wondered if he'd misheard such a big deal, just for wine. Ao Yu couldn't help but shout, "World-sealing Tao Lord, we dragons have plenty of wine." The world-sealing Tao Lord shook his head. "No, I only want Lin Taoist's wine." Ao Yu protested, "What's the difference? Our dragon clan's wine is older and more fragrant." The world-sealing Tao Lord still shook his head. "It's different, completely different." He didn't elaborate, but Lin Moyu already understood. It was because his wine contained their friendship. The quality of the wine was secondary, what really mattered was the bond between the two of them. That's what made it true fine wine. So after all the maneuvering, it was for this. Lin Moyu laughed, "All right, as much wine as you want." The world-sealing Tao Lord lowered his voice, "As long as there's enough of your wine, everything else is minor. I've already set up a formation at the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground, no one but you can enter." Ao Yu's face changed dramatically. "What did you say?" The world-sealing Tao Lord kept smiling, "You're not that dumb, are you? Wasn't I clear enough?" Ao Yu's expression was ugly as he glared fiercely at the world-sealing Tao Lord. "If you mess with the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground, our dragon clan will never forgive you." The world-sealing Tao Lord just laughed, "Survive today first, then talk." Antares, still fending off the formation's attacks, didn't understand the conversation and hadn't figured out what the world-sealing Tao Lord had done. Lin Moyu explained, "It's simple. Senior world-sealing Tao Lord predicted we'd come, arrived ahead of us, and made a deal with the dragon clan. Through this deal, he entered the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground and secretly set up a formation, opening a door for us and even letting the dragon clan see false images. Understand now?" As he spoke, Lin Moyu drew a divine rune and sent it into the 10,000 dragons world-ending array. In the blink of an eye, the once mighty formation fizzled out. No more dragons, no more pressure. To Lin Moyu, this kind of formation was nothing. Antares cocked his head, "So he did all that just for wine?" Lin Moyu patted his head. "You're hopeless. Of course it's not just about wine. I'll explain later, let's take care of business first." Antares replied, "Still, I'm curious what kind of illusion Ao Yu and those idiots saw." The dragon clan was never very bright, Antares was already one of the smarter ones. Someone like Ao Yu, both dim and arrogant, was a disaster waiting to happen. Lin Moyu said, "It doesn't matter what they saw. All that matters is that the dragon clan thinks we're not strong, and yet we came here anyway. The dragon clan and I have no deep grudge. The one they really want to kill is you. I'm more curious how an idiot like Ao Yu became the dragon god. Isn't there anyone smarter in the dragon clan?" Antares thought for a moment. "Probably the dragon god tree. Every dragon god needs the dragon god tree's approval." "Dragon god tree," Lin Moyu said, "we'll find out soon enough." The world-sealing Tao Lord added, "There's indeed a problem with the dragon god tree. I sensed a powerful soul inside it." Lin Moyu nodded, then asked Antares, "I'm about to act. Do you want me to go easy?" Antares shook his head, "No need, kill them all." He'd been hesitant before, but after what just happened, Antares was fully resolved. Lin Moyu snapped his fingers, and the undead legion surged forth like a tidal wave. He was giving the dragon clan face. He'd only used 200 billion skeleton generals and 100 legion commanders to wipe out the entire Hell Alliance. Now, against the dragon clan, he deployed the same force. But the dragon clan only had a single Tao Lord, and not even a real one, just someone wielding a treasure to mimic Tao Lord power. Even though the dragon clan was stronger than cultivators of the same realm, the difference in numbers was overwhelming. The dragon clan, even mobilizing everyone, had at most 1 million. Lin Moyu sent in 200 billion. A difference of 10,000 times in numbers, and inferior strength. The outcome was decided from the start. The undead legion became a sea, flooding the Yang Dragon Great Tao. Countless divine dragons and elemental dragons charged out, but it was useless. Great Tao divine ability, cage. Space solidified, trapping the entire dragon clan. No dragon could escape. Ao Yu's face was ashen. He never imagined Lin Moyu would be this powerful. He wasn't smart, but he could see the situation clearly. The dragon clan was doomed. Surrender was his only option, but dragon clan pride wouldn't allow it. He never considered whether Lin Moyu or Antares would even accept his surrender. The battle erupted. Countless dragons died in an instant. Antares turned away, unable to watch, clearly pained. Lin Moyu didn't comfort him. Some things Antares had to come to terms with himself. With a wave, Lin Moyu sent out countless spirit flowers, one for each dragon including Aobai, to heal their wounds. He murmured, "No breaking, no building. The dragon clan in this world needs to change." Antares grunted, nostrils flaring, his emotions extremely complicated. More and more dragons fell to the undead legion's blades. The divine dragons fought back fiercely, inflicting some losses, but it was insignificant. The skeleton generals revived instantly and returned to battle. In moments, half the dragon clan was dead or wounded. Ancestral dragon descends. Ao Yu roared, and the dragon god crown on his head erupted with power. A divine dragon coiled forth, smashing through the undead legion and charging at Lin Moyu. 3858. 3858. Chapter 3858. The Dragon God Crown. Using the Dragon God Crown, Ao Yu summoned the projection of the ancestral dragon, which instantly broke through the undead legion's encirclement and charged at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu chuckled, "It's useless. Great Dao divine ability, divine strength. Great Dao divine ability, life or death." Lin Moyu's body shone brilliantly, his blood and chi roaring. With the divine abilities boosting him, his punch was unimaginably powerful. The power of death struck the ancestral dragon first. The projection howled in agony, but the death force cared nothing for that, corroding everything in its path. Next, Lin Moyu's punch landed squarely on the ancestral dragon projection's snout. With a loud crack, its head exploded like a watermelon. The ancestral dragon's head shattered, but its body remained intact and continued to attack Lin Moyu. Antares roared and rushed forward, but with a bang, he was sent flying. The ancestral dragon projection only paused for a moment before charging again. Lin Moyu's fists rained down, each punch infused with death force, smashing the ancestral dragon projection's body to pieces. Antares flew back, grumbling, "Damn, that's strong." Lin Moyu said, "This dragon god crown is impressive. It can actually summon the ancestral dragon's projection." Antares replied, "The dragon god crown is the ancestral dragon's treasure, supposedly even stronger than a Dao Lord. If the ancestral dragon weren't dead, it might be even more powerful." Lin Moyu smiled mysteriously, "The solar ancestral dragon may not be dead." Antares was stunned. "What do you mean?" Lin Moyu said, "You'll find out soon enough." The legion commanders led the dragon cavalry to surround Ao Yu. Lin Moyu waved his hand, drawing a divine dragon corpse toward him. Origin level spell, Corpse Explosion. The corpse explosion activated, using the dragon corpse's material, with only one target, Ao Yu. Boom! The great Dao thundered, and Ao Yu's body suddenly exploded. At that moment, the dragon god crown shone with dazzling light, casting a glow over Ao Yu's entire body, forcibly blocking the attack. Lin Moyu was surprised. This was the first time corpse explosion had ever been blocked. It was clear now, the dragon god crown was no ordinary treasure. "Let's see how many times you can block." Corpse explosion after corpse explosion. Lin Moyu had plenty of dragon corpses to use. The dragon god crown kept shining, shielding Ao Yu from every attack. Its power seemed endless, never running out. Ao Yu realized this too, his expression twisted as he shouted, "With the dragon god crown, you can't do anything to me. 10,000 dragons annihilate the world." With a roar, the dragon god crown erupted with blinding light. Even the solar origin paled in comparison. In the dazzling light, countless divine dragon projections flew out, each as strong as a Dao Lord. For a moment, the dragon cavalry surrounding Ao Yu began to collapse. The other legion commanders quickly led their teams to reinforce the encirclement. Lin Moyu watched with interest. This spell is much like the previous 10,000 dragons world-ending array. Antares said, "The 10,000 dragons world-ending array actually comes from the dragon god crown. In fact, many of our dragon clan's secret arts come from it." Lin Moyu replied, "Interesting. Once I get that dragon god crown, I'll have to study it." Antares said, "Study it all you want." At this moment, the world-sealing Dao Lord suddenly spoke up. "Something's not right, Lin Daoist, finish this quickly." Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed. The eye of the undead activated, and he saw wisps of soul drifting toward a certain place. These souls came from the dead dragon clan members. After death, their souls slipped into another space, flying off in a strange way. This method was extremely covert. Each soul split into countless threads, leaving almost no trace. Even Lin Moyu hadn't sensed it at first. Watching the direction the souls traveled, Lin Moyu pointed. That should be where the Dragon God Tree is. The world-sealing Tao Lord said, yes, that's the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground. He could sense it because he'd set up a formation there, which was triggered. Lin Moyu, on the other hand, could see it directly and guessed why the souls were heading there. There's nothing else in the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground, only the Dragon God Tree. The Dragon God Tree was absorbing the souls of the Dragon Clan, and the world-sealing Tao Lord had previously mentioned a powerful soul inside the Dragon God Tree. Could it be him? Lin Moyu murmured. Antares was confused. Who? Lin Moyu said, just a guess, you'll know soon enough. Antares grumbled, great, now you're the one being mysterious. Lin Moyu snorted, what goes around comes around, this is your payback. After all, Antares had kept plenty of secrets in the past. Antares, annoyed, ignored Lin Moyu, but the distraction eased the pain of seeing his kin slaughtered. 10,000 dragon projections rampaged in the sky, like 10,000 Tao Lords without spells, slaughtering the undead legion. Endless dragon breath boiled in the void, forming a sea of dragon breath, causing heavy casualties among the undead legion. These dragon projections were too strong, the undead legion's attacks were nearly useless. Onlookers who had come to watch were all shocked. No wonder the Dragon Clan is so formidable, their foundation really is deep. I'd heard the Dragon God Crown was powerful, but I never thought it would be this strong, one man against 10,000. Lin Moyu's puppet army is powerful, but against 10,000 Tao Lords, it's still helpless. Yeah, numbers aren't enough when the power gap is so huge you just can't win. Looks like Lin Moyu's in trouble now. These spectators commented self-importantly, not noticing that Lin Moyu showed no sign of worry. Lin Moyu's eyes were filled with curiosity. If not for the world-sealing Tao Lord urging him, he'd have played a bit longer. But now, with a thought, the Scarlet Blood Lich appeared at his side. The Scarlet Blood Great Tao erupted, and an invisible sea of blood spread through the void. The 10,000 dragon projections were tainted by the Scarlet Blood, their auras plummeting. Not only the projections, even Aoyu's aura dropped sharply, and the Dragon God Crown was not spared. The power of death could corrode anything, hell spirits could devour anything, and the Scarlet Blood could pollute anything. The Dragon God Crown, polluted by the Scarlet Blood, grew dim and trembled violently, trying to fly off Aoyu's head. Aoyu's face changed drastically. He clutched the Dragon God Crown tightly with his claws, refusing to let it go. But it was useless, the crown shook harder and harder, finally turning into a phantom and flying off into the distance. No, the Dragon God Crown, that's my Dragon God Crown. Aoyu screamed in despair, but no matter how he called, the crown did not return. Without the Dragon God Crown, his power plummeted to first-tier innate soul Tao realm. The dragon cavalry swarmed in, and he was instantly torn apart. Lin Moyu paid no attention to Aoyu's fate, he was just a minor character, irrelevant. What mattered was the Dragon God Crown's destination, it was heading the same way as all those souls. After Aoyu's death, his soul was also split into countless threads, flying in the same direction. Lin Moyu waved, bringing Aoyu's corpse into his soul world, and said to Antares, enter my soul world. 3859, 3859. Chapter 3859, The Ancestral Dragon. In the soul world, Lin Moyu summoned the Undying Flame and cast a spell, Resurrection of the Dead. In the soul void, this spell was almost useless except for a very few special beings. Most who died would have their souls scattered, leaving no body and no possibility of revival. Creatures like the Void Soul Essence Stone, a type of chaos worm, were extremely special. They were aggregates of corpses and could be used for corpse explosion. After their bodies fused, their vitality became so powerful that corpse explosion could even injure eternal beings, making them one of Lin Moyu's trump cards. But as aggregates of corpses, they had long since lost their original form. Lin Moyu tried to use Resurrection of the Dead on them, but ultimately failed. But this time, reviving Aoyu's corpse was no problem. The undying flame burned fiercely, enveloping Aoyu's shattered body. His flesh began to reassemble, and his soul, under some mysterious law, started to regenerate. Even at his current level, Lin Moyu still found Resurrection of the Dead to be miraculous. Antares watched in amazement, while Lin Moyu finally began to glimpse some of its secrets. His soul's gaze flickered as he thought, if I'm not mistaken, Resurrection of the Dead should be related to the true spirit. That's why it ignores world barriers and the laws of the Great Tao. As long as the true spirit is intact, one can be revived. The true spirit is the most fundamental existence of any living being in a world. As long as the true spirit isn't destroyed, the being isn't truly dead. This is the world's definition of life, the self's definition is different. In the world's eyes, things like memories, experiences, family, and friends don't matter. As long as the true spirit survives, the being isn't considered truly dead. Ao Yu was reborn in the flames, crawling before Lin Moyu and respectfully calling out, "Greetings to my great master." Lin Moyu smiled. "Not very smart, but at least your attitude is good. Looks like you were good at flattery in life too. Tell me, where did the previous dragon god go?" At this moment, Ao Yu had lost all his former arrogance and answered Lin Moyu's questions honestly. "Master, the previous dragon god was devoured by the dragon god tree." Antares' eyes widened. "What nonsense are you talking?" Lin Moyu glanced at Antares. "Don't get excited, let him finish." Ao Yu explained in detail. "That day, the dragon god took me to the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground. For some reason, the dragon god seemed weak, and even the dragon god crown couldn't hide it. We knelt before the dragon god tree, and I heard a voice asking if I wanted to become the new dragon Goda." Ao Yu recounted how he became the new dragon god. Antares listened silently, seemingly lost in thought and memory. Lin Moyu didn't disturb him, letting Ao Yu continue to explain the dragon clan's secrets. The dragon clan had many rules, only by understanding their inner workings could Lin Moyu make the most accurate judgments. After Ao Yu's explanation, Lin Moyu gained a deep understanding of the dragon clan, and Antares finally figured some things out, though his eyes were still full of disbelief. Lin Moyu smiled. "Have you figured it out? What's really inside the dragon god tree?" Antares shook his head. "I don't know what's inside the dragon god tree, but I finally know where all the previous dragon gods went." The dragon clan was the first race born in this era, with the longest history. In their records, the dragon god tree, dragon god crown, and ancestral dragon all appeared together. The dragon god tree and dragon god crown were inseparable. Every dragon god had to receive the blessing and recognition of the dragon god tree to obtain the dragon god crown and become the dragon god. As for cultivation level, it wasn't that important. It's well known that the dragon god always has the power of a Tao lord, sometimes even stronger than ordinary Tao lords. But most people don't realize that the dragon god's strength comes from the dragon god crown. Without it, they're basically just first-tier innate soul great Tao cultivators. Over countless years, there have been many dragon gods. Each time a new one appeared, the old one would retire. To avoid conflict, the old dragon god would usually choose to bury himself in the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground, leaving everything behind. The ancestral dragon sacrificial ground is actually the self-burial place of all past dragon gods. After the ancestral dragon's accident, the old dragon tomb was sealed, and the dragons of the outer Great Tao could no longer enter. Only the dragons of the origin continent could access the dragon tomb. As for why, legend says it was the ancestral dragon's command, which all dragons including the dragon god had to obey. This time, Ao Yu had received a new order. The dragons of the outer Great Tao were forbidden from entering the dragon lands of the origin continent. Likewise, the dragons of the origin continent couldn't enter the outer Great Tao. Though they were the same race, they were ordered to remain separated, never to interact. This order came from the dragon god tree. It was strange, but the not-so-bright dragon clan could only obey. Lin Moyu combined his experiences in the origin continent's dragon clan and what happened in the dragon tomb with what he now knew, and finally arrived at an answer. Antares, knowing Lin Moyu was smart, didn't bother thinking further and asked directly, "What did you figure out? Don't keep me guessing, just say it." Lin Moyu said, "If I'm right, the soul inside the dragon god tree should be the ancestral dragon." Antares jumped in shock. "The ancestral dragon? Don't scare me." Lin Moyu said, "I'm not trying to scare you. If you think about it, it makes sense. The dragon god tree is said to have been planted by the ancestral dragon, and the dragon god crown also belonged to him. Every dragon god is eventually buried at the dragon god tree. If you look at it another way, the dragon god's power comes from the dragon god crown and dragon god tree, and in the end, they have to return those things. Using the dragon god crown comes at a price. It makes you weaker. To have Tao Lord level power at first tier innate soul, paying a price is fair. When you can't bear the price anymore, it's time for the dragon god to self-bury." Before the origin calamity, the outer Great Tao was turbulent and full of conflict, and the dragon clan was often involved. The dragon god fought a lot, so the price was high and succession was frequent. After the origin calamity, the dragon god didn't have to fight much, so the price was less and his reign lasted longer. As for why I say the soul in the dragon god tree is the ancestral dragon, it's because only the ancestral dragon could control the dragon god tree. After the ancestral dragon's accident in the wastelands, he came back cursed. He abandoned his body, buried it in the dragon tomb, and sealed the tomb. But his soul didn't enter the tomb, it went into the dragon god tree to avoid the curse. That's why he ordered the outer Great Dao's dragons not to enter the tomb, and the origin continent's dragons became sacrifices. In fact, the souls of the dragons who just died all gathered at the dragon god tree. Who else but the ancestral dragon could do that? He's been nurturing his soul with the dragon god tree, waiting to revive after countless years. Lin Moyu's theory was speculative but well-reasoned, and Terry's had to admit it made sense. Lin Moyu said, "You don't have to believe me. Let's go to the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground and see for ourselves." 3860, 3860. Chapter 3860, The Dragon God Tree. The battle outside had already ended. Nearly all the dragon clan members were dead, with only those who stood on Antares' side surviving. As the spirit flowers gradually faded, the revived divine dragons looked at the scene before them in disbelief. They couldn't accept that the dragon clan, strong for countless years, had been wiped out just like that. Antares let out a dragon's roar, his voice booming, "The great battle is over. You all stay here and clean up. The crown prince is returning." As the former crown prince, even after years away, he still had authority, and many still obeyed his commands. The remaining divine dragons responded in unison and followed orders. Lin Moyu said, "Let's go." Antares led the way, with the world-sealing Tao Lord and Lin Moyu walking side by side, flying toward the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground. Soon, they entered the deepest part of the Yang Dragon Great Tao, where the power of the Great Tao surged like flames. Inside the Great Tao, they were enveloped by the rich power of the Yang Dragon Great Tao. Lin Moyu sensed that, except for the Immortality Great Tao, his other 5 Great Taos were all affected here. The ancestral dragon sacrificial ground appeared before them, shrouded in dense Great Tao power and surrounded by a formation once set up by the world-sealing Tao Lord. This formation was extremely well concealed. The dragon clan had no way to detect it, though it couldn't escape Lin Moyu's eyes. The formation extended into the sacrificial ground, leaving its entrance wide open. The world-sealing Tao Lord explained, "Originally, there were many restrictions in the sacrificial ground, but my formation has penetrated them all. They look intact, but they're useless now. On the origin continent, all formation restrictions were meaningless before this Tao Lord except for Lin Moyu's." Lin Moyu smiled, "You've done all this, but what if I hadn't come?" The world-sealing Tao Lord shook his head. "You always repay your grudges, how could you not come? And even if you didn't, this one would." He glanced at Antares, as if everything was within his calculations. Lin Moyu laughed, "That's true. If I didn't come, this guy would. Let's go in and meet the ancestral dragon." The world-sealing Tao Lord activated the formation, opening a passageway. All the restrictions in the ancestral dragon's sacrificial ground were rendered useless. Lin Moyu said, "As expected of the formation Tao Lord, your formation skills truly deserve to be called the best on the origin continent." The world-sealing Tao Lord snorted, "With you around, I can only claim 3rd place." Lin Moyu replied, "I just take a different path and still have much to learn. As long as it works, it doesn't matter what path it is," the world-sealing Tao Lord said indifferently. To him, strength was strength, how you got there didn't matter. As they walked through the passage into the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground, Lin Moyu looked at Antares. "You've been here before, right?" All dragon clan members, after reaching the Great Tao realm, would visit the ancestral dragon sacrificial ground supposedly to worship the ancestral dragon and receive the dragon god tree's blessing. So Antares had definitely been here. Antares said, "I came once, when I was made crown prince. But I was a bit dazed at the time and didn't see clearly." The world-sealing Tao Lord chuckled, "It's not that you didn't see clearly, you couldn't see clearly. There are so many restrictions and formations here, they affect everyone's senses. You thought you didn't see clearly, but you simply couldn't." Antares didn't argue, he knew the world-sealing Tao Lord wouldn't lie. Lin Moyu mused, "If you can't see, it must be to hide something." The world-sealing Tao Lord glanced at Antares and smiled, "You'll know soon enough." At this point, Lin Moyu drew a divine rune and placed it on Antares' head, letting it slowly sink in. Antares trusted Lin Moyu and didn't resist at all. Lin Moyu didn't explain the rune's purpose and signaled him not to ask. Ahead, mist rose, with a massive shape looming within. The world-sealing Tao Lord waved his hand, activating a formation that sent out a gale, dispersing the mist and revealing a colossal tree. The giant tree towered to the sky, visible from afar. It was over 10 million meters tall, with lush branches and leaves covering a vast area. Lin Moyu compared it to the world tree, and in sheer size, even the world tree couldn't match it. Its branches coiled like divine dragons, countless in number, and the entire tree radiated boundless vitality. Before they could approach, the dragon-like branches suddenly came alive, emitting constant dragon roars. The entire tree exuded powerful malice. A terrifying presence was awakening within. Shock was clear in Antares' eyes. The dragon god tree before him was completely different from what he remembered. The world-sealing Tao Lord, as if expecting this, smiled, surprised. Antares instinctively replied, very surprised. How could the dragon god tree be like this? The world-sealing Tao Lord said quietly, let Lin Taoist explain, he can see more clearly. Lin Moyu took over. It's simple. After the ancestral dragon was injured, he took refuge in the dragon god tree. To revive and rebuild his body, he needed immense power. All of you became his nourishment. Most of this happened during the origin calamity, but the setup began long ago. I think the ancestral dragon originally just wanted to use the dragon clan's power to further himself. Later, it became about using the dragon clan to revive. To be honest, resurrection is harder than advancing further. After all these years, he still hasn't succeeded. The world-sealing Tao Lord added, that's true. Resurrection is harder than advancing a rule of the world. Lin Moyu continued, all the dragon gods who buried themselves here have truly had their souls scattered. They've been completely digested by the dragon god tree. The tree didn't just absorb them, it also did something to the entire dragon clan. Antares immediately asked, what did it do? As soon as he spoke, his eyes lost their light. Antares' eyes went dull, and like a puppet, he flew toward the dragon god tree. Suddenly, a divine light shone from his head. The rune Lin Moyu had placed earlier radiated brilliantly, sending out countless threads to bind Antares. The other ends of the threads were in Lin Moyu's hand, so Antares couldn't reach the tree. Lin Moyu shouted, and the rune's light intensified. Antares suddenly roared, spewing endless dragon breath, and his consciousness returned. He snapped awake. Antares asked in shock, what just happened? Lin Moyu said, you were just controlled by the dragon god tree and nearly went to self-bury. Antares felt a chill. In that instant, he really had lost consciousness. He whispered, why did that happen? Lin Moyu explained, your soul had a restriction planted by the dragon god tree. But now it's broken, it can't control you anymore. Suddenly, an angry, frustrated voice echoed from all directions, just one step away, just one step. It's all your fault, you ruined my plan. The voice shook the sacrificial ground as the dragon god tree came alive, its branches whipping wildly, transforming into millions of divine dragons swirling in the air.